Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Breaking news on the program. Breaking news on the program. We've got all kinds of football on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show Thursday edition. We're going to get to all of the Brown stuff, I promise. But first, I think we've got to get this Cavs news out there because I think this is a good story.
Yeah, they're building. They have plans to build a new practice facility in the Flats. This has been in the works for quite some time. The news was released today, but they've been going back and forth. I mean, I saw renderings on this 7 months ago on what was going, just kicking around ideas and sketches of what could it be. Dan's wanted to bring the Cavs back downtown for 10 years, this facility. They built the original one because it was close to LeBron's house.
Was it a land issue?
No, it was. It's between downtown and where LeBron lives. So this is where we're going to put it. We're going to put it in Independence because it's 20 minutes from...
I mean the move to downtown.
Oh, the move to downtown?
10 years. Was it simply a case of they couldn't find the right piece of land?
No, because it's going to go on land he already owns.
Oh, wow.
It's my understanding it's in the Flats, and this is where Phase 2 of the casino is supposed to be when there was a Phase 2. Remember, the casino that we have now is only supposed to be the start, and there was supposed to be this more exotic piece that never came.
Yeah. Right.
So this is the land that he already owns.
What's the benefit? Is there any benefit to the fans and to the city?
There is. It sounds like there's going to be some public use space for this. The rendering I saw had a rooftop court on the place.
Oh, cool.
Now, whether or not that makes it to the final product, we'll see. Cleveland Clinic Courts, as it exists in downtown right now, in Independence, the current practice facility is about 50,000 square feet.
What becomes of that? Any idea?
knock it down. Probably. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with it. But this new one is going to be, as of now, 3 times the size. It's going to be 160,000 square feet. Now, that could change. Construction costs right now are nuts.
Yeah.
And the Guardians went through that with Progressive Field. We saw the renderings of what they were going to do, and they were talking about flipping the clubhouses and putting the Guardians on the first base side because there was more room back there. All of that went away when they saw the price tags.
Oh,
like,
I see.
What the final product is going to be at Progressive Field compared to what they've wanted to do is night and day. And there's not going to be any public money that I'm aware of going to this project. This is all funded by...
There be.
No, nor should there be. This is all funded by Dan Gilbert and the Cleveland Clinic, and maybe they have some other funding, you know.
Right.
But as of now, those are the 2 that I know of.
Okay.
So they need the space because once they moved the Charge out of Canton, all of the Charge people are now in Independence, and they are busting at the seams. This is an organization that went from firing everyone every 2 years to now no one that gets fired.
And do they have some of their crew operation in Cleveland too?
The Charge sort of split between the facility in Independence and the Wolstein Center.
Okay.
So they'll have dedicated space and this new place downtown. There will be a clinic side to this that will be for public use. The clinic will have some sort of medical offices now downtown or in the flats.
All right, so there are some benefits for the people.
There are some, and there is going to be a public component to all of this.
I wonder if they're going to pay any taxes. Well, he already owns the property.
He owns it's.
What's on the property? Just nothing?
I don't think anything, but I'm not positive on that.
Okay.
But it's the land where it's my understanding it's the land where phase 2 of the casino was supposed to be. And
Very good.
By the way, real quick, you referenced the Guardians there. They will officially probably be eliminated today.
Yeah, the magic number for the
anybody want
Twins
to
is 1.
Play taps for them?
I left my bugle at home. And their season
You weren't
ended.
here yesterday when we did the announcement that the Guardians are going to lower ticket prices in the upper level.
Yeah.
All tickets $11 for the entire final series.
Oh, it's just the upper level?
Yeah, it is.
I thought it was the whole stadium.
Well, that's what we were told yesterday when we reported the news.
Yeah.
It's actually just the upper
that's
level.
lame.
I don't know who reported. Someone in the behind the glass told us that, and that's what we reported.
Oh, $11 for upper deck with a team that's out of it is not that great
It's
a
upper,
bargain.
and it's all reserved upper deck too. So there's some good seats up there.
Yeah.
They just want to fill.
I paid
$1
$1 a
do,
ticket.
I
is
paid
that it?
$600 for opening day tickets in the upper deck this year,
gosh.
so I'd gladly take them. It was the front row of
So is
for
that
4
it?
of them.
I mean, for Terry, I know there hasn't been the official announcement, but
Yeah.
that's
It's
what
over.
we said yesterday.
Yeah,
we
it's-
said it's all but official.
I think it wouldn't surprise me if he got back into baseball,
Wouldn't surprise me at all.
but I think he needs a year off to sort of
completely recoup.
And
What about the chances of him becoming a general manager?
I don't
don't
see
see
it
that.
as a general
You
manager.
don't?
I could see him as a front office consultant somewhere.
Yeah.
Just the grind of being the manager and on the field every day and everything else and the travel and all that. It takes a toll on these guys, man. And,
Sure.
and all the health problems that he's had. So I could see him doing something with he's not going to know
He goes back into TV.
Yeah.
Technically, he's still in baseball. I mean, I could see him going to MLB Network, back to ESPN.
ESPN.
Maybe to Fox.
Yeah, he's not going to know what to do with himself. He's been in baseball his entire life.
Yeah.
And the way he gets to the stadium at like noon, walks around in his underwear and his slides and reads the paper and like just has
It's
a
like
day.
it's his house. Right?
Yeah, it's like that's what he does. So he's not going to know what to do without
You know,
baseball.
I'd love to see him on Major League Baseball postseason telecast this year.
I could see that.
I think, and in game.
good,
yeah.
I would love to see him in the booth for Fox during the World Series. I think he would add a lot to the broadcast. He was great at ESPN. I really enjoyed working with him there. And
It's a great point. I don't know if he'd be in the booth, but I could totally see him on the panel.
yes, so for sure on the panel.
Yeah.
I don't know that they would expand the booth.
Right.
But if you're going to, I think he's the guy you're going to do that for.
He'd be great.
The panel already
So-
has one of his players, David Ortiz.
Yes, they do.
Of course,
Yeah.
and A-Rod.
Yeah.
So that's out of the way. Let's tell you what's coming up on the show. True or false? We wanted to do it yesterday. We didn't get to it. We have a Titans beat writer coming up later in the program, Teresa Walker. She's a tremendous writer. She's a well-decorated, longtime beat writer of the Titans. We had her on last year. She was very good. No fence riders. That's going to be a fun segment. Jason's breaking up with a player that he's had a long-standing love affair with.
I wouldn't go that
Is that
far.
appropriately stated?
No. I
You've
defended
been
him.
supporting this guy for a long time.
I defended him one time. It turned into more than
Will
that.
never be let go.
And now I'm slowly
like-
backing away.
It was
It's
a
just
one-night
like-
stand that turned
It's
into
just
a
like Earl with
long-term
Donovan Mitchell.
relationship.
It's like a one night stand, and then it snowed a lot, and then we got stuck in the house together. Then we spent
Then
2
you
weeks.
escaped out the backfire plate.
We spent
the
2 weeks
backfire
ordering
escape.
Uber Eats and realized this isn't going to
Yeah.
work. So I'm putting the pin back in the grenade and slowly
very good.
backing out of the house.
Also,
There's a lot of COVID couples that ended up that way.
That's true.
You're right.
We already hooked up in COVID. I can't hook up with anybody else. I might as well stay with you.
Yeah, I'm stuck with you until this thing's over. Also, if you thought that Deshaun Watson was getting a lot of fire, if you follow these things closely, there was a lot of talk yesterday that perhaps there was a burner account that Deshaun Watson started because the account came to life shortly after the Steelers game ended, and this account was just firing down all of the big name detractors, or at least many of them. He was responding to them. No proof to me or Jason and Bull, we talked about this, that this is actually his burner account.
Yeah.
It might be associated to someone that's close to Deshaun Watson, but we don't have any proof of that anyhow.
Although he went on a blocking spree on
Yesterday,
Twitter,
didn't he?
I'm insulted that I was not blocked, but Jason wasn't blocked.
You're not hard on Deshaun. I wouldn't call you a critic of Deshaun Watson. I wouldn't.
I think both of us have been hard on him within
fair.
reason.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
But players don't usually care about fair. They want their
he's
asses
going
kicked.
after the guys, and that I know of. Maybe you have done this.
Yeah.
I think he's going after the guys and women that were specifically really hard on him after the game. Whoever the burner account belongs to,
Yeah.
if it is a burner account,
Yeah.
whoever it is, if it proves to be related to him in any way, it's going to be really bad for him.
It's
Because this account is calling out his teammates in a really big way.
I can't believe that it's.
I can't.
I don't
I
anything to do
need
with
to
it.
believe because I'm a Browns fan. I need to believe that this is just some random Yahoo who wanted to stir up
There's
trouble.
no reason to believe Deshaun Watson would be ripping his teammates anonymously.
No, I said
just
this
don't see
about
that.
Baker, and I say this about Deshaun, and I do believe this about Deshaun.
Yeah.
If you're a quarterback in the NFL and you have rabbit ears and thin skin, that is a terrible combination.
Absolutely.
It's a disaster.
And he does have both.
Yeah, and that's-
Baker Mayfield has both.
Yes, and the blocking thing is silly. It's just silly because they blocked all the writers when he first got here. They blocked
Didn't
most of the
make
writers.
sense. No one had taken shots at him.
Yeah, and I'm still not blocked. I don't know why, but I might be the only writer that's not blocked. I don't know.
I'm glad to hear
but I mean, whatever. But
Let's see if you're blocked by the end of the show.
but Twitter also has a mute button. Deshaun, just mute it.
I've got
Just
a better
mute
idea.
it.
I've got a better idea. You are a professional quarterback making $230 million over the next 4 years. And that includes what he's already collected. Get off social media.
I totally agree with that.
Get rid of every account you have. Get off Twitter. Get off Instagram. You don't need it. You've got $230
He
million.
doesn't tweet. It might not even be him. He doesn't.
No,
tweet
I'm talking
over-
about the accounts that we know are his. Why is he on there?
No. But I'm saying his Twitter. I don't think he tweets much. He might have
His
somebody.
Instagram is pretty.
You can
I don't know about
active.
Instagram.
You
but-
can usually tell which ones are from the players and which ones are
From
from,
their people.
the handlers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, it's obvious. He's involved. He's looking at his mentions. He's reading that nonsense.
Yeah.
Deshaun, it means zero.
Yeah.
You know-
there's only one thing that matters. What do you do on the football field?
I've said for years, Jay, if I was a pro athlete, I would not have anything to do. Let your
I
marketing
agree.
team let your marketing team handle your account for business purposes, whatever else. I'm not on Twitter now. Neither are you. You're
I'm on,
hardly
but
ever
I
on.
never tweet.
Well, that's same. Like
Yeah.
I have an account, obviously, and I put
Well,
something
I
out this
disagree
morning.
with
but
that.
very
I
little.
understand where you're coming from. I disagree with that. And people have told me, you guys have both said, don't look at your mentions, don't do this.
Don't.
But I have to do that because I have a lot of fans that ask me questions and say nice things. I want to respond to those people.
Everyone does. But here's the thing. I know you want to respond to people,
Yeah.
and that's admirable. It is. I used to be in that world, by the way. But at some point, what you
Yeah.
realize is, in particular if you're a quarterback, not for media, it doesn't matter for
Yeah.
us. If I want to hear from the quarterback that steps forward and says, social media has made me a better player.
Right. Well,
When has that ever happened? And so
Never.
with that in mind, just go dark. Just don't say, maybe don't even make an announcement.
No, of course
and don't
not.
even delete your accounts. Just leave them be.
Yes.
Don't put anything out there. One thing should matter to Deshaun Watson right now because it's the only thing that will determine his ultimate reputation in the game.
The Titans' defensive scheme.
What do you do on the football field?
that's
Yes.
true. But
Yes.
he likes, listen, people like to communicate with their fans directly. It's a different time.
I know, but Bull, I know this affects you because we've talked about this.
Yeah.
Now, some people are super weird, like Skip Bayless, who used to tell me you would never want to read my mentions, and then he let me read them for a
Yeah.
minute, and I go, Skip, how are you doing that? I mean, the most vile, horrible things ever. It has to have an impact on you.
I hear you, but 99% of the negative tweets to me have no impact on me. It's 1%.
Okay, so if it's 1% that get through that affect your psyche,
to me, it's not
that's
worth
affecting him on the field.
I hear you. It could.
I just don't think that it's going to make it
But he doesn't
better.
have to look at his mentions.
Every question that he asks himself from now moving forward is what I'm about to do.
Yeah.
Whether it's to leave the facility at 5:15, or whether it's to stop and have a meal in a public restaurant, or whether it's to look at his Instagram mentions and clap back.
Yeah.
Everything he does from today forward he has to ask one question before he does it. Is this going to make me a better football player?
Yeah.
And if the answer is
I hear
no, you're getting paid $230 million, and with that comes the bullseye and the target. And he's clearly wearing it right now.
Yeah.
You're not going to get better by looking at your mentions. You're just not.
No, that's fine. I don't think he's doing that to look. I think it's a way to communicate with his fans.
Okay.
But
All right.
I get what you're saying. I mean, there is really no benefit.
I always hear people say, well, I'm trying to build a brand.
Yeah.
Build a brand for what? You've got $230 million when you walk
no.
away from this game. You don't need a brand. Buy
Has
a place in Idaho and enjoy the rest of your life.
he fought with people on social media? I don't know that he's
Well,
done that.
in my estimation,
Players
when
who
you
have done
block
that, that's a
someone,
mistake, yeah.
When you block someone, it's obviously a response.
Yeah.
And I just think that he's above that. I just think he should be above that.
Yeah.
So
I've never blocked anyone on Twitter. Not
know
one.
you've said that.
Not one.
Yeah, if I happen to see a mention that's personal, they're gone. They're gone. I always say this. If you're in a toxic relationship of any kind, whether it's work, personal, friendship, get the hell out. Life's too short.
But mute
and
is
that's
better.
a relationship if you're tweeting back and forth, and the second it turns toxic, bye-bye.
But mute's generally better because they don't know you've been.
I'll mute the shit out of people, but I don't block them.
I had not blocked anybody. I had not blocked anybody in years until this week when people were tweeting at me saying it was my fault that Nick Chubb got hurt.
Yeah.
And those people I blocked. It was the first time I'd blocked anybody in a long time.
Okay, our first hello to Mikey McNuggets behind the glass. Hi, Mike.
What's up, guys? That was a fascinating conversation, and we're going to get to it later. It happened there, and that's perfect. But before we move into Kareem Hunt and his introductory press conference with the Cleveland Browns, I want to remind everybody that you should feel empowered to care for yourselves and your loved ones during the unexpected. That's why Jace Medical offers the Jace Case. The Jace Case provides 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use, giving you peace of mind. So you're not just hoping you have access to medication in an emergency. Jace Medical makes sure you have the medication in hand, and it's simple. They handle everything from online evaluations to licensed pharmacy, medication delivery, and ongoing consultation and care. Don't get caught unprepared. Save more than $360 by getting these life-saving antibiotics with Jace Medical, plus an additional $20 if you use the promo code LOCKEDON at checkout at jacemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com. Promo code locked on.
Hey, Mikey, show everyone your shirt.
Nope.
Come on.
Me and Jason are wearing the exact same shirts.
Show me your shirt.
Oh, is that why he's got the sweatshirt?
Yeah, we're wearing the exact same shirts. That was unplanned. But
You wear the same shirt?
You know what's
Exact
funny about
same.
that? Monday, Russ Mitchell, who anchors the 6 and 11 o'clock shows for WKYC, had the identical sports coat on that I was wearing.
No way.
Identical. And it wasn't like a common sports coat.
Yeah.
There was
It
a
was
little
one of
flair
these
to it.
hoity-toity,
Yes.
multi-$1,000 sports coats.
so speaking of rich contracts and rich things, Kareem Hunt could earn up to $4 million if he hits the incentives in his contract with the Cleveland Browns. He had his introductory press conference yesterday. So, guys, my question to you is, and we touched on it a tad bit, what can we realistically expect from Hunt?
By the way,
we went in on this yesterday,
Yeah.
so I think Jay should start.
By the way, have we seen the breakdown of how he gets to those incentives? Has anybody seen that?
I have not.
haven't
I have
seen
not
it.
yet.
no, I don't
no.
think it's been reported yet.
Okay.
If it
Jason,
has,
well,
I missed it.
As Jay said, you didn't get to chime in yesterday, so.
This doesn't really move the needle for me. He's a backup. He cannot possibly be in shape. He's not in football shape.
Well, I was told that he's been working out.
I'm sure he has, but there's a difference
Well,
in
you
working
can't be in
out.
football shape
That's
unless you
exactly
play
it. Unless you're playing
football.
football.
So you're right about that.
So he has no chance that he's actually in football shape. I would be surprised. I know Kevin said he could get some carries Sunday. I think we have a fence rider question coming up. I'd be surprised if he has any sort of real role in this game, just because.
You don't think he's going to play at all?
Well, it's a short week to start with. He just got in the building on
yeah,
Wednesday.
but for him, it's a long week.
Well, but for the team, it's a short week. He didn't get in the building until Wednesday. I mean, if he plays, I think it's very, very, very,
But it's
very
not
little.
like a typical midweek pickup. He knows the system.
And I think that's why it's him. Like,
Yeah.
And it's running back, too.
I'd rather him. I think Cam Akers is better. I'd rather them see go
Really?
get. Oh yeah.
He already got traded.
Well, that's not until after they signed Kareem.
Yeah.
The trade went
Akers
down
was
after they
after-
signed Kareem.
Yeah, but with obviously Kareem Hunt's had his off-the-field issues.
sure.
But Browns already know his deal. Like, there's a reason. The return in the trade is the lowest possible return you could have gotten in a trade.
But Cam Akers is an active NFL player who is in shape and ready to go.
At least ready to go now. Plug and play,
but,
as they
but
say.
but the benefit to Kareem is he knows the system.
Yeah.
So that's probably...
And he's not a cancer in the locker room.
Right. Ultimately,
there's a lot of baggage swirling around Akers if you listen to the reports.
I don't know how big of a role he's actually going to play. I guess we'll wait and see. I don't think there's
it'll increase as the weeks go along, you would
Of course, but I just don't think there's a lot of tread left on those tires.
It's Jerome Ford, right?
For sure.
It's his.
Yeah, this is Jerome Ford. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If Jerome Ford plays really well, then he'll continue to be the lead guy. But if he, if the running game is not looking great, well, then I think at some point we're going to see a split between the two. Listen, I was as critical of Kareem Hunt as anyone last year, but he's not a zero.
Well, you bring up an interesting point on Jerome, and I think he has until the bye week to prove if he's the guy. And if he's not, you have to go get Jonathan Taylor. I absolutely believe you have to go make that move. You have to make that move.
I initially reacted to the injury and said, go get Jonathan Taylor. And then I calmed down and I said, well, this is crazy.
Well, here's the thing. No, why not?
Because ultimately, you have to give up a ton to get him. You have to pay him a ton of money.
Yep.
And if Deshaun Watson doesn't play better, they're not winning anyway.
Okay, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
Can he make Deshaun Watson play better?
It's not even that.
Nick Chubb couldn't.
Listen, you have 52 guys in that locker room right now that are looking at you saying, what are you going to do? You gave up on us last year and you punted the season.
It's just like the Guardians.
When the suspension went, that's it. When the suspension went to 11 games and they rode with Jacoby Brissett, everybody in that locker room, for as much as they love Jacoby, everyone knew they were punting on the season.
This is different, Jason. It's running back.
But it's not. There's an all-pro running back available in trade right now to go get. And maybe Jerome Ford does it. Maybe he handles the job. Nick Chubb needed an opportunity. We didn't know Nick Chubb was Nick Chubb until he got an opportunity, and then he became Nick Chubb. Yeah. Maybe Jerome Ford, this is his opportunity. He had a couple great runs Monday night. Maybe this is it. He takes the opportunity, runs with it. I'm just saying, if he doesn't, and you have an all-pro, it'd be different if Jonathan Taylor wasn't available. You have an all-pro running back available. Yeah. Now, you do have to pay him. But my point is, you have 52 veterans in that locker room saying, what are you going to do to fix this?
Bull, I just don't buy that. To double down on what Jason's saying, when it was the move to get the quarterback, Deshaun Watson, you were all in.
Because the quarterback makes you a winner.
Right, I know. However, if you're one-dimensional, you'll never know what Deshaun Watson's going to be. You need a run game. So all this is assuming that Ford isn't the guy.
That's exactly right.
So this is my point.
I'll tell you this.
At what point do you stop going all in?
Again, the great quarterbacks, it's irrelevant if they're one-dimensional or not. Patrick Mahomes' teams have been completely one-dimensional almost the entire time he's been there, except for when he was with Kareem Hunt that first year. So, if that's what you gave up all this capital and money because Deshaun Watson's supposed to be a quarterback that is above all these other things.
Bull, listen.
He hasn't been. If he's not, they can't win.
In the locker room after the game, I was talking to a veteran who said, we're going to find out how much they value the running back position. They are watching. They are watching to see. They are watching to see how the Browns handle this. Right. Now, maybe Jerome Ford
is the guy.
Maybe he's the guy, and that's great if he is. It solves a huge problem. And now somebody's calling me,
Jason.
And now you just go with it. But if he's not, you have a real problem because you have veterans that know that. This is my point.
Yeah.
They punted on last season, and the other guys in that locker room know that. So if you have another gaping hole,
choice.
Yes, they did.
What could they have done?
Jimmy Garoppolo was
Jimmy Garoppolo stinks.
Bull, Jimmy Garoppolo is better than. Stop talking. Jimmy Garoppolo is better than Jacoby Brissett, and you know it.
But he's not.
You know it.
I know that, but
okay.
Would they have made the playoffs with Jimmy Garoppolo?
Can I talk? They had an opportunity to make the team better, and they didn't do it because they were more concerned with rolling the cap space over to this year because they're paying their quarterback $50 million. I get it. Yeah. But the point is there was a better quarterback out there for them to go get, and they didn't do it. They rolled with what they had. Now they have Jerome Ford. If he's not as good as what they need, and there's someone out there better, and 2 years in a row, you punt on an opportunity to make your team better, what message is that sending to Myles Garrett, to Joel Bitonio, to Denzel Ward, to all of these veterans? You have an opportunity right now. You think you're going to win. If you don't take advantage of it, what message are you sending to everyone else in the locker room?
Running backs get hurt all the time.
Yes, they do.
Do all these teams have pressure to go get a better running back? No, I've never heard that before. It's a running back. Number two, in terms of punting last year, I'll agree with you that they did, but I don't think that they had much of a choice.
Yes, they did.
Jimmy Garoppolo, the difference between Jacoby Brissett and Jimmy Garoppolo, to me is irrelevant.
Then how come Jimmy Garoppolo's been a starter his entire career and Jacoby Brissett is not?
He's not been a starter his entire career.
How come Garoppolo went to the NFC title game and Jacoby Brissett is not?
Because he was on the San Francisco 49ers.
I'm just saying there was a quarterback out there who was better.
How's Jimmy Garoppolo doing now? He's going to be benched halfway
through
the
season. Last year there was a quarterback out there who was better than what they had, and they didn't do anything about it because they didn't want to spend the cap space.
I don't think that's a significant difference.
No, it is. It is. Between Garoppolo and Jacoby Brissett,
no, I
there
don't.
is a significant diffence.
I disagree.
Oh. Then how come Jacoby Brissett hasn't been a starter for the last? How come he can't get a starter job for 8 years?
Even in Washington, I thought he might get the job there.
Because Jimmy Garoppolo's a bottom 8 quarterback.
He's better than what they had.
I agree, he's better, but he's not significantly better.
I think what Jason's
would the
saying
Browns
is,
have made the playoffs with Jimmy Garoppolo?
We'll never know.
I'm asking your opinion. Do you think they would have?
Possibly.
You think they would have?
Possibly.
You think he would have played that much better than Jacoby Brissett?
I don't want to relitigate all last year, but I know we went through.
Well, you brought it up.
Okay, but so let's go through the list of all the games where Jacoby Brissett threw a bone-crushing interception at the end of the game with the game on the line, and the guy to have a moment.
And that's what Jimmy Garoppolo's done all the time. His whole career throw big
the Chargers, the Falcons, and got to have it moments. Brissett threw interceptions.
The bottom line is the Browns lost last year because of their defense, but not because of
my
Jimmy
point of this isn't
Brissett.
Necessarily Garoppolo. Yeah. It's just the fact that there was something out there to do last year. They didn't do it. Now they're in the same spot. If Taylor wasn't available, this wouldn't be a conversation.
And Jason, let me help you out here. I don't think that this would be a Brissett for Garoppolo exchange. The exchange for what we know of him, and Taylor
is massive.
There's no question.
I don't know that we know that yet. Taylor's had one season. Taylor wasn't good last year. Was he good?
If you had to pick right now,
I'd pick Taylor, of course.
Okay.
But was Taylor good last year?
Between Taylor, this is the point I'm making, is the difference between Taylor and the Ford as we know him, which again is a small body of work, is that different than Brissett and Garoppolo? Because to me, it is a big difference.
Yeah, but it's a much less important position.
I just think if you're all in, you're all in.
Now the catch with Taylor is you have to.
So why are you not screaming to go get a better left tackle then?
What all-pro left tackle is available right now in the market today?
Well, I don't know.
That's my point. He's out there and he's available and he's ready right now.
Jonathan Taylor wasn't an all-pro last year. Does he get to be all-pro forever now because he made one all-pro?
Well, he was on a terrible team last year in a terrible situation.
And he was hurt, and he's hurt again this year.
Jason, let me ask you a question. Right. So I think this is going to clarify a little bit. If Jonathan Taylor wasn't available and actively available, the Colts have made him available. That's public knowledge. That is an open fact. Would that change your opinion of how you think the veterans are looking at the situation?
For sure. Yes.
Absolutely.
Of course it does.
So it is situational
better guys like Kareem Hunt
to
that
this
you can go
and the Nuggets and all of you guys, I think to me, and I brought this up, I think it's the same thing the Guardians decided to do. Are the Guardians going to win the World Series this year? No. Were they going to win the World Series if they didn't punt and become sellers instead of buyers? Probably not. But could they have provided another series or two of postseason excitement in October for the fans who are starving for a drink?
You're comparing not trading Jonathan Taylor to trading away players? That's a bad comparison.
It's not.
Sense.
Well, here's the analogy.
Traded away
Let me
guys.
make the analogy. The Guardians had to make a decision.
Yeah.
Are we going to sell or are we going to buy? And they went all in on the sell. And in the locker room, it was so bad, the next night they got no hit.
Yeah, okay.
And management had to get on an airplane.
We all know what happened. We all know what happened.
So my point is, and Jason
so
you're
saying by not trading for Jonathan Taylor, they're selling?
I'm saying they have an opportunity to improve their team.
Well, you always have an opportunity to improve
your team. No, you don't. You don't always. You don't.
Yes, you do. Always.
When you lose an all-pro running back, it's not often that there's another all-pro running back in the wings. This time it is.
But you can't. There's always somebody you can improve with.
Weren't you screaming for DeAndre Hopkins?
Yes, I was a free agent. I didn't have to give up multiple draft picks to get him and sign him to a multi-year deal worth millions of dollars.
Well, you're going to have to sign him to look at what he signed. You're going to have to sign him to big money. That's what Taylor wants.
How many years did DeAndre Hopkins sign for?
I think one.
That's 1 year.
Okay, with the Browns right now, it's the value of the 1 year is what is the hindrance.
The window's not open long.
When you have, what do they have, $34 million in cap space right now that they're trying to roll over to next year because Deshaun Watson's number is $64 million. Jason, it's the biggest contract in the history of quarterback contracts for 1 year. That's why they're trying to roll over $34 million. I get it. I'm just telling you, they're going to lose veterans. If Jerome, and maybe this is a moot conversation because Jerome Ford is great. If he's not, They're going to lose veterans if they don't do anything. If this is the best that they do, is they run out a Kareem Hunt with 3 wheels left on him and a Jerome Ford who's not as good as they thought, they are going to lose veterans in that locker room. I'm telling you now.
What do you think? What do you think you have to give up to get Jonathan Taylor?
I don't know. I'm not part of those discussions. But they have their number 1 available the year after.
So
next.
you're going to trade a first-round pick for a running back?
No, I'm just saying. It's not like they don't have any draft capital. They do. They do have draft capital.
I don't understand.
They do. In the future,
we
they
know
do.
running backs don't move the needle in terms of wins
Bull,
and losses.
is this equivalent? Because this is the way I'm viewing it.
Yeah.
You're at the poker table.
Yeah.
And you've already made the decision. I'm riding or dying with this. I'm all in.
Pot committed is the term.
That's it.
You are
committed.
pot committed.
You're absolutely right. You're pot committed. So
you
at
can't
this
get
point,
out now.
Like, here's my fear. My fear is, and I know we have 8 games to judge this on. If there is a miraculous turnaround for Deshaun Watson, then I'm going to be surprised by it. Because right now, if I had to go pot in on something, I'm going pot in on what I've seen the last 8 games.
So then why are you trading for Jonathan Taylor? If you
what
don't think he's going to be good?
What I'm saying is, this move, we talked about this yesterday, and I'd like to get your thoughts. We said that if Deshaun Watson doesn't improve or get any worse, just plays the way he has for the next 4 years, this is among the absolute worst trades in pro sports. We mentioned Herschel Walker clearly.
Yeah.
I think so. That's what you're looking at. If you can make a move that might resurrect that, I think you have to make it.
It won't resurrect that, though.
You don't know that it won't until you try it. You don't know.
I agree with you.
How is Jonathan Taylor going to resurrect the Browns?
I agree with you.
Really?
If Deshaun...
Did Nick Chubb resurrect the Browns?
We had a chance with Nick Chubb. We all sat here and said the Browns have a chance with Nick Chubb.
But Nick Chubb, are you saying that Jonathan Taylor could resurrect Watson? Is that your point?
I'm saying that he can make Watson a little bit better, absolutely. Because right now he's one-dimensional. And if they figure out...
He's not one-dimensional.
If opposing defenses figure out that Jerome Ford's not the guy, I think Deshaun Watson's life gets a lot more miserable.
And it's already pretty miserable.
Jake,
it is pretty miserable,
bottom line
but
is
if there's no running threat other than him, they're one-dimensional.
Well,
they're going to have to throw the ball to win.
A, they weren't one-dimensional because they ran the ball very well with Jerome Ford. B, yes, that's a fact.
Yeah, for 2 quarters plus, he had one exceptional run.
That's the only thing we have right now. You're talking about sample size.
But here's the problem. They ran for almost 200 yards and lost.
Well, that had nothing to do with the running game.
Well, they turned it over. They've got to clean up the turnovers.
Okay, but that's 0 to do with the running game. That was on Deshaun Watson.
Okay, it was, and he didn't come through.
Let's say Deshaun, you said if Deshaun doesn't play well, they're screwed, so it doesn't matter.
They have no chance.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what if he doesn't play well? Now what?
Yeah, what do you do now? What's the future look like if Deshaun is
I mean, they are screwed. So
they're screwed.
So what do you do?
That's a whole off-season conversation. I mean, there's nothing you can do in season if Deshaun Watson.
But there is a move you can do in season right now, and that's go get Jonathan Taylor. And I understand it eats into the cap space you're trying to roll over, and it creates all sorts of problems for next year. I'm actually working on a piece for The Athletic on this and contract restructuring. And the Eagles went through it. The Falcons went through it. The Falcons were in absolute cap hell because of Matt Ryan, and they made a couple of really bad decisions on restructures. And this eats into that. But I'm just telling you, to appease the guys that are in there, you have to show them that you're willing to back them up. And I hope it doesn't come to that.
Yeah.
I don't want them to have to trade for Jonathan Taylor. I want Jerome Ford to take this opportunity and run with it and go be that guy. And it will solve a lot of their problems now and into the future. I'm just pointing out, if that doesn't happen, I think they absolutely have to go make that move.
No matter what the price.
Well, I don't think it's going to be outrageous. I really don't.
I mean, a first-round pick for a running back is pretty outrageous.
I probably wouldn't give a first-round pick.
Be a first-round pick.
The only point I was trying to make is we act like the Browns are depleted in picks, and they're not. I
agree with that.
They do have the capital to get that.
But they don't have a first-round pick next year.
Correct.
Right.
That's the last year they don't have.
But let me ask you this. It's not like the NBA where you could trade as many first-round picks as you want.
Yes.
But let me ask you this last thing. If Deshaun Watson plays the way he's played, which is, you could argue he's been the worst quarterback in football since starting last year.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's 31
he's
in the
certainly
QBR.
He's certainly in the bottom 5 of quarterbacks since he started last year. If he continues to play at that level, Jonathan Taylor doesn't make them a playoff team.
I agree with that, but you're screwed anyway. My point is you have to show the other guys in that locker room. You have to show Miles, Bitonio, Wyatt, Denzel Ward, Anthony Walker, whatever veteran you want to name. I'm particularly looking at like the pillars of the franchise.
Yeah.
You have to show them that you are all in.
You think you lose those guys?
Yeah, I think you do.
You're not punting for the second straight season.
That's exactly it.
I don't
punted on
see
last
it as an
year.
Equivalent thing, but
you punted on last year. You can't just let it roll again this year.
I'm with you, Jay.
Go ahead, Mike.
Go ahead.
We're about to bring in our next guest, but before we do that, we have a poll result question from the chat. Whenever we bring you poll results, it's brought to us by PCC Airfoils. If you're looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits, PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils at Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. You can apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. We asked the YouTube chat, who was right, Bull or Jason, in that argument? And Jason, for the first time in his life, has won a YouTube poll.
You've said that like 3 times now.
Congratulations. We're going to keep giving you credit every time you win. And with that, let's welcome in maybe one of the greatest beat reporters in all of the NFL. She's a 4-time Tennessee Sports Writer of the Year. It is Teresa Walker. How you doing, Teresa?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm broadcasting from the literal parking lot of the Titans practice facility because we get availability here in a few minutes. And let's just say that, they doubled the size of their building, but the press workroom is always loud. So it's just easier to join you guys from the quiet comfort of my car.
Well, we appreciate that very much. Teresa, one of the things I want to talk about with you, and we'll start there, is it's been a mixed bag for the Titans, like it has for many of the teams, including the Browns. But the one thing that I was looking at a lot of numbers this week, and the one thing that really jumped out to me was the number of 3-and-outs this team has had, particularly when you consider that they were able to beat a pretty good offensive team last week. I think they're 26th or 27th in the NFL in 3-and-outs. How do you explain that when you've got a guy like Derrick Henry who's known for moving sticks?
Too many penalties, and there's been too many penalties on first and second downs, putting them into bad passing situations where the defense can pin their ears back. Literally, the fastest sack in the first 2 weeks of the NFL happened on 4th and 4 in the first quarter on Sunday. It took Kenneth Murray of the Chargers 2.31 seconds to get through the left side of the line untouched to take Ryan Tannehill down on a 4th down. That said, this is a new offensive line. It's a new offensive coordinator. Tim Kelly, by the way, who was Deshaun Watson's coordinator in Houston in 2019. So the Titans front office and the coaching staff, very familiar with Deshaun Watson. But this offense seemed to start clicking. They've got 4 new starters on the offensive line. And one of those guys, Peter Skoronski, their first-round pick out of Northwestern. So they had a new guy in there in the first quarter on Sunday. He gave up 2 quick sacks. So they yanked him, put in Dylan Radins, and they still gave up 5 sacks on Sunday. But it seemed like they started gelling right before the end of the first half. They drove down, got a field goal from Nick Folk, and they came back, guys, from an 11-point deficit. And Ryan Tannehill was at his best in the fourth quarter and overtime. He completed all 7 passes. I think it was 94 yards. And really, it seemed like this offense showed signs of coming together at that point. Now, can they carry it over? Can they keep protecting Tannehill? That's a big question, especially against this Browns front. So if they can, the penalties have been their biggest issue, putting them into those situations when you're facing a 1st and 20, 2nd and 15, guys, any defense can go after the quarterback then.
Teresa, I'm curious. Ryan Tannehill's been there a while. I personally, I just don't think he's any good. I don't think the Titans could ultimately win at the highest level. Right? They failed in the playoffs. They're well coached. Derrick Henry's great, but he's getting old. If I'm a Titans fan, I feel like I'm spinning my wheels here. They've been a solid team, but I feel like they're kind of stuck in the middle as long as they have Tannehill. Is that fair, unfair? Do the fans feel that way?
A lot of fans feel that way, but I will say this. When Derrick Henry broke his right foot on Halloween of 2021, that team with Ryan Tannehill went 12-5 and was the number 1 seed in the AFC. And unfortunately, Ryan Tannehill had 3 interceptions in the game against the Bengals, one coming with 20 seconds left, which is why a lot of Titan fans do see him as a scapegoat, and they just want, they see Malik Willis, Will Levis sitting on the bench, waiting in the wings, and trust me, a lot of chatter this offseason, especially in the opener. He had the worst career passer rating of his entire career. And just this 3rd game, and first since his rookie season, where he had 3 picks and no touchdowns. And people were ready to ride him out of town on a rail. Guess what happens, though? On Sunday, he came back with his highest career passer rating. It was like, completion percentage, 83.3%. He had 123 passing percentage or quarterback rating. I mean, 246 yards. He ran for a touchdown. He threw for one. He posted the 27th game-winning drive of his career. And guys, 14 of those have been since 2019 when he came to the Titans. That's third in the NFL in that span, tied with some guy named Tom Brady who just retired. So, now that's the thing. They've had a great team around him, but each of the last 2 years, they have led the league and most players used because of injuries. And one of those guys was Ryan Tannehill. He hurt his ankle against the Chargers last December. He played with a bum wheel much of last year. He's healthy. He's been here this whole offseason. And if you want to see why the Titans are starting him and not looking to Levis or Willis yet, well, look at the 70-yard pass that he dropped into Treylon Burks' hands on Sunday, and then he had a 49-yarder into the fourth quarter. The receiver was just smothered by the defender, and Tannehill put that ball where only he could catch it. So, and now with the ankle healed up, he ran for a 12-yard touchdown on a triple option look. It just, he had to shake some rust off, okay? He played one series in one preseason game, handed the ball off 3 times, and, this is a guy that the Titans, they believe in right now. Now, granted, he's 35 and in the last year of his contract, but they're rolling the dice with him this season.
Teresa, I wanted to follow up because you mentioned Treylon Burks there. Yesterday we had a debate, and I was by myself on this. Everybody else on the panel behind the scenes was made it. So we were talking about Treylon Burks versus George Pickens of the Steelers. Obviously, Burks was drafted higher than Pickens, and Pickens has been more productive to this point in their careers. But I was making the point that, everybody else here felt like, it's obvious that Pickens is better. My argument was, well, the Steelers throw the ball a lot more than the Titans do, and Burks is the number one receiver on Tennessee. Tennessee don't have any other receivers, so the top defender is going to guard him for the last 2 years, whereas Pickens, outside of last week, has had Deontay Johnson and even Pat Freiermuth to take the pressure off him a little bit. How good do you think Treylon Burks is, and can he become the receiver they envisioned him being when they drafted him in the first round?
Watching Treylon Burks this offseason, I think yes. Now, don't forget, they're the team that managed to land DeAndre Hopkins, and all he did, he didn't practice last week because of a bum ankle, rolled it at the end of the Saints loss, but he doesn't practice all week. He is targeted 5 times, catches 4, including a 14-yarder that set up the game-winning field goal in overtime. So DeAndre Hopkins is going to still drag some attention. They also have a tight end named Chig Okonkwo. I'm expecting Okonkwo and Burks to truly break out this season because they've been around just this entire offseason working with Tannehill, working on the chemistry and timing and the communication. I am expecting a big year from Treylon Burks this year. Last year he was limited by injuries. Admittedly, he deals with asthma, and when he came into Nashville for the offseason program, he was not ready. He was out of shape, and he admitted it. And then he got hurt in the season, so he had 1 touchdown reception all of last season. Guys, he caught it and was knocked out on the play in Philadelphia, and so he dealt with injuries last year. I am expecting a breakout season for Burks this year.
Teresa, defensively, they really got after Justin Herbert last week, and the Browns have not handled pressure well. Deshaun Watson's been under duress in both of these games, really, and even going back to last year. How have the Titans cranked up the pressure, especially last week against Herbert?
Well, it helps that they've got a 2-time Pro Bowl defensive lineman on the interior in Jeffrey Simmons. Guys, he absolutely could be a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year this year, okay? He played half of last season on a bum ankle that they had to shoot up before every game and still finished the year as a Pro Bowler. They have Danico Autry in the final year of his deal. He has had 19.5 sacks since the Titans signed him a couple years ago. They added Arden Key on the outside. Harold Landry is back after missing last year. He was a Pro Bowler with 12 sacks in 2021. So they they've got enough guys. And then Tier Tart is a guy undrafted who is just quietly getting after guys and getting double teamed because the opposing coaches notice him and give him attention. So they can pressure with everybody on that offensive line. And now they've got some interior linebackers. Azeez Al-Shaair is a linebacker that they signed in free agency from the 49ers. Couldn't get on the field much in San Francisco because, well, he was behind Fred Warner. And so now he's here. They have got a front seven that can get after the quarterback. And even if they're not getting him on the ground, and they took Herbert down 3 times, they can pressure him. And that's the thing. The Chargers went 3 and out in overtime after winning the coin toss because they were pressuring Herbert. They brought the house on him, and he could not find his receivers with the pressure that they were bringing. So they will get after Deshaun Watson. And Shane Bowen, he used to coach in Houston. He's very familiar with how dangerous Watson can be when he starts running around. Look for them to try to handle him and keep him under control.
Teresa, I think we had you on when Jim Schwartz first landed here in Cleveland. I don't know if you've been able to watch any of the Browns games. I'm sure you've seen some of the numbers, though. Are you surprised at all with the way he's been able to turn this defense around so quickly?
Not at all. I mean, that is the hallmarks of a Jim Schwartz defense. Getting after the quarterback and being very stingy against the run. Those, not surprised at all that, in fact, when they're tied, the Titans and the Browns right now are tied for rushing defense. Now, the Titans have a few more sacks than the Browns, but the Browns have got some serious pressures because that's a hallmark of a Jim Schwartz defense. It's not always about the sack numbers. It's about how much you're pressuring that quarterback, and they are flat getting after it. And that's Jim Schwartz in a nutshell.
When you look at the matchup, one of the things that jumps out is the fact that the Titans' defensive secondary has been not good. I think they're, Mike, did we say yesterday 28th?
28th in opponent passing yards.
Opponent passing yards. Is there anything that sometimes numbers need context? Any injuries? Have they been that bad? What have you seen in the back end of that defense?
Well, they were that bad last year. Guys, they were last in the NFL against the pass last year and first against the run. So they start out by making teams one-dimensional. Now, the problem, they did not have safety Imani Hooker last week because he was in the concussion protocol. He's working through that, practice yesterday. Starting safety, cornerback Christian Fulton, who has battled a hamstring. Mike Vrabel called out some repeat offenders when the season ended last year. Christian Fulton's been one of them. He worked this offseason with a different trainer, trying to get better with that, and misses the second game with a hamstring issue. So he practiced yesterday, so they've got a chance of getting both of those guys back. They went out and got Sean Murphy-Bunting to add to the secondary, but Roger McCreary is in his second year out of Auburn. He is a guy, second-round pick last year, quietly becoming one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL against the pass. And, if you're targeting him, you're not going to have much success. So, but they're willing to give up some passing yards. The key is when they get in the red zone, they made the Chargers settle for field goals on 3 of their 5 trips into the red zone last week. That's where they bend but don't break. That's kind of their motto.
Yeah. Teresa, both teams 1-1. Obviously a big game. You want to get over 500 here. Who do you think is going to win this week?
Guys, Mike Vrabel is an Ohio native, played at Ohio State. This game means a lot to him. And it feels like this offense is finding its footing here in Tennessee with all the changes this offseason. I think the Titans are going to, and they're 2-0 against the spread. So the Browns are definitely the favorite in this game. I think the Titans are going to find a way to pull this out.
Wow.
Thanks, Teresa.
All right, Teresa, thank you very much. Excellent information. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Anthony keeps asking us for headlines, and I haven't given them yet because I'm kind of leaning
Towards
her
the
way. And even if the Browns won that game, I was still kind of leaning Tennessee just because, the Browns got beat up in that game physically and beyond the Chubb injury. That was a really physical game on both sides.
You go back to the stat about the 49ers opponents last year were 0-16 after they played San Francisco. That was a San Francisco kind of beat down.
Well, that stat's over because
physical.
The
Steelers
You're right.
won if they're losing.
So that breaks that straight.
And coming off the short week, even if the Browns, this isn't like an overreaction.
Well,
to one
Denzel
loss.
Ward got banged up in the game. Greg Newsome got banged up in the games. Darius Smith got banged up in the game.
It just had to feel one of those games of the hangover week coming on a short week. I think they're in trouble Sunday.
Yeah, the Vrabel thing scares me too. She's right.
I mean, we thought they were going to roll in the opener in 2019, and Tennessee just kicked them up and down the field.
I'll say this: I wonder the team seems very motivated. We'll see how it translates on the field.
Yeah.
But right now, this win one for Chubb thing seems like a big deal in the Browns locker room.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because they were talking that way post game Sunday.
Right.
I think Miles told me we can't let this go for naught, and Miles said Nick's my guy. I love Nick. And I was sort of telling him, they said, they could hear on the cameras on television, you could hear them screaming in agony when he got hit. And Miles, cringed, and it really affected him. And he said, we can't let that injury go for naught. We got to do this for Nick now. And a lot of times players will say that. It's just lip service. I think these guys do mean it.
Yeah. I mean, every player, Grant Delpit interrupted in the middle of his press conference is hey, I want to talk about Nick Chubb for a minute.
Yeah. Wow.
And every player is saying this. So again, they could go out and get blown out this Sunday. It won't matter.
It was, Sunday in a different way. We go back, we talked about the Jets game last year in week 2 and what just a demoralizing, crushing defeat that was. This felt like that being there for different reasons, obviously. That was a game they never should have lost last year, and they threw up all over their shoes, and we know how that went. This had that same gut punch feel to it, though, and last year they bounced back on a short week, and they beat Pittsburgh in week 3 at home.
Yeah.
And now here we are again, short week, really tough loss, demoralizing gut punch of a loss for different reasons. They could bounce back and win this, for sure, for Nick. I look at the physical play that they went through on Monday night.
Yeah.
And I'm concerned about Sunday.
I think it's kind of a double gut punch because not only did you lose Nick Chubb, they didn't blow it like the Jets game, but they still blew it.
They for sure blew it.
You should never lose a game you're winning going into the fourth quarter when your defense gives up -7 yards.
100%. 100%.
Doesn't happen.
So,
the stats tell you that doesn't happen.
No.
And we talked about this yesterday, and I don't even really want to go there for any length of time, but if you don't, they're all important. Mm-hmm. You can always make the case for why this game they just have to win.
Yeah.
But if you lose this, and now you're staring at Baltimore, bye week, San Francisco, 1-4 could creep up on you real quick.
Yes.
And you at 1-4, it's sideways.
Yeah.
It's really hard to pull that back in.
Yeah, this is a big.
Bull laughs at me when I send, "Is this a must-win every week?" But somehow it always comes back to, does it appear to be a must-win?
Never a must-win.
Not a must-win.
James Jones told me it ain't a must-win until you're facing elimination.
That's it. That's the only time it's
fair.
Technically a must-win.
Yep.
And after the game on Sunday, no matter if it goes to overtime, whether it ends quickly, takes forever, myself, Earl G. Bush confirmed with us yesterday he will be getting out of his, well, he said he had COVID yesterday, so we could say he has COVID now. He will get out of his COVID bed and doing the post-game show with us, regardless of how he's feeling. So it'll be me, myself, Earl, post-game show after the Titans, instant reaction analysis to what we see on the field when the Browns meet the Tennessee Titans on Sunday. On our YouTube page, starts with a 2-minute warning. Make sure you tune in and check it out. Jay, I want to set this next thing up here with my mindset. Last week we talked about whether or not Deshaun Watson was going to have his first true breakout game as a Cleveland Brown. And at the time I had said, Steelers defense is tough to do it against. But if you look ahead, and I should never look ahead, but I did, Tennessee's pass defense is weak. The weather's going to be perfect on Sunday. Nick Chubb's not playing because he's hurt, which means it may be a more pass-happy offense. If I'm a chef looking to make a master dish, this game against this opponent in this stadium with this weather has all the ingredients to come together as Deshaun Watson's breakout game. Am I crazy for thinking that way?
By the way, on this topic, I just saw this quote. Deshaun Watson is speaking right now. He just said...
Why was he moved from yesterday, by the way?
He did Thursdays last year. Wednesday's normally the day quarterbacks talk.
I thought I saw something earlier yesterday where he was going to talk.
He was going to talk.
Yeah,
he's done that last year where he talked on Thursdays. Yeah. I don't know.
Right.
He said the biggest issue through 2 games has been he's not been on the same page with everyone. Line, receivers, coaches. There's a clip. Can we play a clip from the press conference or no, Mike?
Is it on Twitter?
Yeah.
If you DM it to us on Twitter, yes,
I'm going to DM it to you right now. But that's not great.
No, you've had all off season and 2 weeks to get on the same page. That's an excuse, but it's not a
good one.
It's not excusable.
It's not a good one.
And he's making excuses. I don't love that.
Well, you got to say something when you play as terrible
You know what
as
you
he's
say?
played.
I've been absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
I have not earned my money. I need to and will be better, and everything I do during every second of my day is focused on that.
I think he's blaming himself here, though.
I don't know.
We got to hear the quote.
Well,
I was
when
just
you
reading
say,
it. But
to me,
Who tweeted out, Paul?
when we hear it, we'll know.
Yeah.
But to me, if you say
What's that?
it's
Who
been
tweeted it?
poor
You didn't send it.
communication,
I tweeted it. I
there's
DM'd it to you,
two
Mike.
parties to communication. If you say we have not been on the same page and that's on me, that's falling on the sword.
I think that's what he said. I think he was blaming
okay,
himself.
maybe he did. We'll decide when we hear it.
We're pulling it up in 1 sec. Give us about 60 seconds.
Because I mean, he is the biggest reason they lost.
And,
he is the
Monday
reason
night.
that they lost.
I mean,
no question.
There's 100,000 different metrics you can use and pull, and Mike was going over numbers with us before the show of where he ranks and everything. The one that I pulled up after the game Monday night, EPA, expected points on dropbacks, he's the second worst in the league. The Browns are losing point every time he drops back.
Yep.
And his EPA through 2 games is minus, I'm doing this off memory, minus 0.44, I think, or minus 0.42. The only I think he's 4.4. He's minus 0.44.
That's like Justin Fields.
He's worse than Zach Wilson. The only quarterback worse than him in EPA is Kenny Pickett, who is like off the charts bad. He's like minus 0.62.
I'd like to see what his number is going back to his week 11.
I could figure it out.
Year.
I could probably.
I bet it's got to be one of the worst.
I'm sure it is.
Definitely.
But
2 or
think
3.
about that. Deshaun is second worst at 0.44, negative 0.44.
Yeah.
Pickett is negative 0.62.
Yeah, that's
like
crazy.
everyone else. There's like 4.4, 4.2, 4.0, 3.8. Like they're all tightly bunched. And then here's Pickett.
Yeah, I know what I wanted to ask you before we hear this clip. We know that Deshaun Watson was brought here to be elite.
Yep.
And he hasn't been elite.
Nope.
And so before you can't wash your hands from this experiment. This paint is on your hands for 5 years.
Yes.
You're stuck.
Yes. This is like gasoline.
It is. It's not coming off. So what I thought of yesterday was, okay, he's not going to be elite. At least he hasn't shown us any signs that he's ever going to be elite again. This team and this roster should be good enough, particularly when they had Nick Chubb. Just manage the game. Just be Baker Mayfield. You don't have to be the reason your team wins, but you cannot be the reason your team loses. That's
not a good
Monday.
example because Baker threw more picks than anybody.
But it's horrifying to say that.
Baker Mayfield isn't going to be the home run quarterback.
I know, but you're talking. Jason's example of Jimmy Garoppolo would actually be a better one.
Well, there's a million game managers. You've heard that.
Baker's not a game manager. He's a turnover machine.
It is. If he doesn't fumble and he doesn't throw the pick six, and I know the pick six, someone said yesterday the pick six was actually dipped at the line. Maybe it was. I didn't.
It was. If you go back and look at it frame by frame, it was tipped ever so slightly.
I mean, it might have moved the ball just enough to make it an interception. But the fact of the matter is, if we don't turn the ball over, we win.
Oh, all right.
So don't throw for 350 and 5 touchdowns. Just don't throw for 2 picks.
You're right. Baker's just a bad example because he turns the ball over more than any quarterback.
Baker's team is 2-0.
Okay, that's 2 games. Jay.
Okay. Well.
Is it
right
not
now, Baker's
not a fact that Baker has turned the ball over as much, if not more, than any quarterback in football since he came into the league?
I'm guessing because you're asking that, but I don't care.
Well, you do care. You can't use it as an example. It's a bad
what he's done this year.
I know what Jay's saying.
Games.
You know what I'm saying.
No, I know.
The question was to you.
Yeah, I know what Jay's saying.
Can they do that?
Well, it's horrifying to think that way.
I know it is.
Everything that you've given up. And here's how I would answer that. Kevin Stefanski got the absolute best out of Baker Mayfield and Jacoby Brissett. They had the best quarterback rating seasons of their careers under him. That tells me, and everyone thinks I'm a shill for Stefanski. I get that. But if you got the best out of Baker and Jacoby Brissett and Deshaun's playing like this, that's a quarterback problem. It's not a system problem.
Yeah,
it's
this
a quarterback
guy elevates
problem.
Quarterbacks.
Yes. He puts them in the best position to win and gets the most out of them. Whatever talent they have, he squeezes out of them. We have proof of that of multiple quarterbacks. But yet it's not working with Deshaun. That tells me it's not a coaching problem. Right. It's a Deshaun problem.
I don't think you can give Stefanski a total pass on it.
Nobody gets a total pass. Nobody gets a total pass.
Because it's not like Baker was great the whole time he was here. He was great for
but as you said yesterday,
everybody could be better. And Kevin's going to wind up getting fired if this thing goes off the rails.
Right.
For sure. But
go ahead, Mike.
My only point is Kevin has proven he can get the best out of quarterbacks. This is a Deshaun thing, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
So this is a quote from his press conference today. Anthony, you can play it whenever you're ready. Mike, take it full.
For myself, it's just being on the same page with everybody else. And that's just going with the, protection-wise to the coverage-wise to what, we're thinking about with Kevin. If it's going to be a 4-down situation, if it's a 3rd-down situation, if I need to take the shots, if I don't need to take the shots, and things like that. So just being able to just continue to grow and learn, and that's the biggest thing for me. And that's the part of this game. It's the NFL. Every week is different. Every week is a new challenge, and you have to continue to grow and continue to get better.
As you've gone on. Tough to hear.
It's a little hard to hear.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly my bad.
No,
he didn't.
Not at all.
He didn't. And like how,
it actually sounds like some of the burner tweets. Actually,
how long do we have to wait for him to learn and grow?
Doesn't
I
it?
mean,
Sounds a lot
there were a lot of people who thought he'd
The
be
message
great when he
is the
first
same.
came in last year. He wasn't. We gave him 6 games last year. He sucked in all of those games. Like, how much longer? This whole offseason, I heard from all the Browns apologists, it's going to be different.
I agree with you.
He's going to be great. You know, they got the full
Well, to
offseason.
be fair, you said that you thought he was going to be great.
Exactly.
Yeah, to be fair.
I did think he'd be great.
And Zach Jackson was the one in practice going, guys, this doesn't look good. Guys, something's wrong here.
I had told you guys, now look, he might turn it around and have a great year.
He could.
It's still, there's so much football to be
Yes.
played. But I remember when our producer upstairs at Channel 3 was talking to me about what was going on in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically used a lot more colorful language, but he basically was saying he's not it.
Yeah.
He is not it.
That's a lot.
Because he's had a lot of time to get ready for these workouts at the start of the season, and it just isn't there.
The messaging from inside the Browns was, wait till you see this.
I know.
Everything's awesome. Everything's great.
Yep.
A lot like Kenny Pickett in Pittsburgh. Wait till you see this. And the people who were seeing it every day were going, the Emperor's not wearing any
I mean,
clothes.
don't oversell it.
I say he's got a half a season to prove the turnaround, but in the end, they have to pay him forever. However, there's going to come a point, like if he sucks this whole season, you can't just say, well, he's our quarterback for the next 5 years. You can't do that.
You have to.
No, you don't.
No, well, you're
It's
stuck.
crazy.
You're stuck with him this year and next year, period.
Yeah, because you got to at least
But
get past the halfway point. I mean, after 3 years, okay, it's Jimmy's money,
No
but
matter-
the punitive side of that is the salary.
I don't
cap.
have the dead cap thing in front of me,
Yeah.
but next year, again, $64 million.
I hear you. But
So, like-
if he
So
sucks,
what's the total cap number expected to be?
Oh, for the team?
Yeah.
I don't know off the top of my head.
it
I don't
goes
know.
up about 12,
But
15 million
that's
every
why,
year.
and again, I'm working on something. Hopefully, I'll have it out next week on kind of looking at this. I was talking to somebody yesterday who's like, they're following the Eagles model, which makes sense because AB came from Philly. A lot of them came from Philly. But you have to be very careful on which contracts you restructure because once you restructure a guy, you're stuck with him in terms of cap and dead cap money. If he turns out bad, it really kills you on a restructure. And again, it goes back to they never touched Nick's contract, which was curious over the summer. So it's Bull, to your point, no matter how bad it gets, I think you're stuck with him this year and next year.
No, you are.
And
but
then maybe you can look at some sort of relief or figure out what to do.
No.
We're a long ways from that. But
we are.
But it's worth the 30-second
What I meant was, if he sucks this whole year, you have, even though you'd have to play him again, you'd fire Stefanski and give another coach a chance to turn him around. But you'd have to, at least in somewhere, in Andrew Berry's mind, or if he gets fired, whoever takes over, start thinking about, okay, who could be the next guy?
That's exactly it.
You have to start thinking about it, even if you can't
What's the
actually
exit,
do it.
what's the exit strategy?
Again,
we're
it's
a long
way to
ways
go.
off. We're a long,
But the fact that we're even having that conversation, and by the way, it's fair to have it.
Oh, I promise you, inside the walls,
They're saying
panicked.
the same thing.
It's not a daily topic, but I promise you, there has been a worst case scenario exit strategy of how what do we do?
Who was the bus driver on the we've got to get Deshaun? In my mind and what I've heard, I think it's Jimmy. But I don't know. You know far more than I do. Is that right?
This is complicated. I have been told by multiple people that Andrew was sold on him first. AB was the first one to say, we have to look at this. Let's look at this. Let's do this. Now, I think Jimmy came back over the top when Deshaun told them no. Jimmy came back over the top and said, give him whatever it takes. Give him whatever he wants.
Was that because Baker, after Deshaun came out and said, I'm not going to Cleveland.
Right.
Then Baker said, okay, I'm going to flex my chest and use my hammer.
Right.
And said, I'm not going back. There was no.
But that didn't happen until after the trade.
No. It was immediate. It was Deshaun said, I'm not going to Cleveland. Then Baker said, I've got a card to play and I'm going to play it.
But they felt like they had to upgrade from Baker.
That's exactly it. They felt like they had to upgrade from him.
Stefanski didn't.
I don't believe that.
If you believe what he said, at the time, Stefanski said he felt he could win with Baker Mayfield. He had done it.
But he's not going to. But he's not going to come out and say we got to move on from 6. He's not good enough. He has to say that in the moment. I do think internally they all were in agreement. We have to try and do better than this. And
so if it's wrong, everybody goes.
And well, Jimmy's not going to.
Now, the one person that would need most to go.
And I think
because
Jimmy's
he's the only one that's got his hands in all of our misery and failure.
And Jimmy's the one I think who came back and said, guarantee the 230, do whatever it takes.
Is he ever going to sell
Give him
the
whatever
team?
it takes? No. No chance.
He's dying with that in his portfolio.
No, he's not selling. There's no. They keep accruing teams.
I know they do.
So they're not. They have. That is never going to happen. Jimmy Haslam is the owner of the Browns, and then whenever there's a transition, it'll probably be JW.
Oh my God!
It'll probably
Why
be
would
JW.
it be JW and not his action?
If he was let go by the Browns today, which would never happen, how many of the other 31 teams would be lining up to hire him?
0.
Why would his actual daughter not take over and JW?
Well, what does she have to do with the team now?
I don't. What does JW don't know his ass from his elbow?
Well, but I'm saying like he's involved in the decision making now.
I guess. The bottom line is, if Watson ends up being a disaster, everybody's going to go back and kill the Browns for making the trade, and it will be a terrible trade.
It's already happening.
They had to get a quarterback.
They had to do something.
They had to get a quarterback.
Yes.
I understand why they did it. I thought it was a brilliant trade. Right now it looks bad, but they had to make a move.
I will never. I'm not one of those guys. I'm not going to be fake and like turn around and kill him. I'm not going to run from it. I want him to move on from Baker.
100%.
I didn't think Baker was good enough. I still don't. I think it was the right move to move on from him.
Yeah.
They had to take the risk because of 20 years of incompetence.
Yeah.
And they couldn't figure it out any other way.
Right.
And the clock was ticking on Miles and some of these other guys. They had to do something. He was available. I get why they did it. I understand
you said
the
20
outcry.
years of incompetence. There was 1 year of competence.
But yes, there was, and Baker was fine that year. But
well, not
being
one.
There,
they had a year of competence with Derek Anderson.
I'm just telling you, being there every day.
20 years. I'm saying
being there. You're referring to the Baker year in the playoff game and the playoff win, yeah,
of course.
But being in that building and knowing enough of what I know, nobody thought he was like.
Nobody.
It was too many excuses. It wasn't good enough. He wasn't good enough. In pressure moments, I had all the stats. I can go back and find them and pull them up.
How did it work then in 21? How did it work?
What do you mean, how did it work,
It's
Jay?
the same way.
I'm asking Jason a question.
Well, do I have to stay uninvolved in the conversation?
No, when I want to ask a question of you,
well, can I ask a question too?
When Jason answers, I would love to hear
Here's what I would say. Derek Anderson had a great year too. Sure. And one great year does not make a great quarterback.
Exactly.
And I think we've talked about it on the show before.
Derek had a great wide receiver.
It's that bar of consistency that separates. Everyone can have a good 300 game here and there. Baker played well 2 games in a row, and full credit to him. He's had a great start to this year. I have no faith that it'll last all year, and if it does, I have no faith that he can repeat it next year because we have enough evidence of who he is. Like, this is who he is. And I got killed for saying this when Baker was like rolling and everyone loved him. I said he's Derek Carr. There's some years where he could be like top 8, and there's other years he's going to be 15 to 20. And that's Derek Carr's had some really good years. He's had some really bad years. That's
how many
Baker
playoff games Derek Carr's won?
Yeah, I know. But I'm just saying he's had some really good years.
Okay, so Bull, how did that happen in 21?
In 20?
20.
Or 20, yeah, with the bad quarterback. And
you know how? I missed the most obvious answer.
Yeah.
The COVID year.
The COVID year.
Yeah.
The most obvious answer, nobody was in the building.
Yeah.
And people like laugh when I say that. Players have told me there was no noise. It was only the essential people were in the building. There were no distractions. There was no nonsense. It was all football all the time.
You could go to a lot of years and a lot of teams and find an anomaly with a quarterback making the playoffs one time, right?
Sure.
The Bills made the playoffs with Tyrod Taylor. The Texans made the playoffs with T.J. Yates. We could go on and on. There's always these examples. And by the way, as much as I don't think Baker's the answer, I never said Baker was terrible. Never said he was terrible.
You didn't?
He's Jed Wills. He's average.
I don't think he's even average.
Don't go there. Speaking of that,
I thought Baker would go to Carolina and be a bottom-tier starting quarterback. I didn't think he'd be benched.
I actually thought he should have stayed in L.A. I thought that was a great spot for him.
I did too.
They obviously didn't want him.
Yeah, they didn't.
Well, it's not so much
I
that
think
they
he had an
obviously didn't want
opportunity.
him. They thought that Goff still had something left. And
Stafford.
Or Stafford, I mean. And who knows? I mean, it's at times this year he's looked like he's
Stafford's
really
played
something
great so
left.
far.
And I think Baker saw an opportunity in Tampa to go win the starting job and be a starting quarterback right away.
Yeah.
So I don't fault him for that.
Before we move to fence riders, let me ask you this, because I set this topic up and we kind of went off, and that's fine. But real quick, around the horn. Are the ingredients there for Sunday to be his breakout game?
Well, am I over? Yes. No, it's obvious. Great weather, terrible back end of the defense, last in the NFL last year, bottom feeders this year. They need a big performance. If he doesn't have a big game here, you start looking ahead and say, when does it happen?
Because now you got Baltimore and San Francisco coming.
Yes, you can almost assure that he's not going to be his best against those two defenses.
Yeah.
I think the question is in that vein, and I agree. I think we all agree this is an easy
better
opportunity for him
be.
this week. When does it? I feel like Jay has already reached a point where you're like, it's never going to happen. I feel like you've reached there.
No, I haven't made that conclusion yet. I'm far more at the beginning of the year. When you guys were saying we think he's going to be great, and I said I'm not going to dismiss the last 6 games and pretend they didn't happen. He prepared for those games. He practiced. He had a whole 11 off weeks to get ready. I didn't see it. So what I said coming into this year was, I think he's going to continue to be more of that guy than more of Houston. And every bad performance, like you said earlier, the more we have to wait to see it, the more unlikely it becomes that we'll ever see it.
So the
and
question
that's where
is,
I haven't written it off, but
when does it come to the point? Like, I'm not at the point yet where I'm saying, there's no chance he's going to turn it around. I will admit that after the Pittsburgh game, it was the first time I really thought, man, this might not happen. And I had not one, as bad as he was last year, I never thought that.
I did.
Even in the rain in Cincinnati, I didn't think that. After Pittsburgh, I was like, this might not happen. How many more games do you think you have to go for you guys before you're like, it's over? There's no way he's turning it around.
I mean, we're still quite a ways from that,
and we're stuck with them too.
Yeah, you're stuck.
No, I know that.
Like
but
if to your point, if he was Baker and DTR was on the roster, maybe 6-7 games of that nonsense, and then you say, let's go to DTR. But you've got so much invested in him, you are stuck in cement.
Yep.
You can't move.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on and play a little game of Fence Artists. Before we do that, I got to let everyone know that you should feel empowered to take care of yourself and your loved ones during the unexpected. That's why Jace Medical offers Jace Case. The Jace Case provides 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use, giving you peace of mind so you're not just hoping you have access to medication in an emergency. Jace Medical. Make sure you have the medication in hand. It's simple. They handle everything from online evaluation to licensed pharmacy medication delivery and ongoing consultation and care. Don't get caught unprepared. Save more than $360 by getting those life-saving antibiotics with Jace Medical, plus an additional $20 by using code LOCKEDON at checkout at jacemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com. Promo code LOCKEDON. Are you guys ready to play a little game of No Fence Riders?
Yes.
We are.
We got 6 today. We're going to save 3 for tomorrow. And let's get to our first one. Will Jerome Ford, the new RB1 for the Cleveland Browns, have at least 99 total yards against the Titans? 2 of you guys said yes. The rest said no. And on the yes side of the fence is a very angry tag team of Jason Lloyd and Earl Carl. That is the angriest duo we've ever had on the side of the fence.
By the way, those photos were both taken just after the Steelers lost.
Nah, Jason doesn't care that much.
Jason, so you said yes.
Jason's got it right.
Why do you think he goes over 99 total yards?
Well, now I'm concerned now that I'm with Earl, the eternal optimist. You know, the only 2. Earl, don't let me down, buddy.
Well, look, if he breaks one big run
and
like he did against Pittsburgh, and that's what I was thinking, but I went back and I looked to see how good the Titans have been against the run.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, I know they have.
So that's why I went with the under.
You know, I think at least last week, we don't have a lot of proof, right?
No,
we don't have a lot of
no.
data on him. But there was a lot of 2, 3, 1, -1, 69.
Yeah.
And it was that big play ability. It was that big play ability that he showed that he has in him. And, you know, he could catch a couple passes out of the backfield. So 99 to me, that felt like a comfortable number. I'm comfortable.
Was that total yards?
Total
yards,
yards.
okay. Correct.
I looked at it as rushing
I just
yards.
think the Titans just, you know, the differential going back to last year between them against the pass and run is pretty stark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to be looking, whether he can handle it or not, to Deshaun Watson to put the team on his back this week.
I think the Browns want to know, and we talk about diminishing the importance of the run game and all of that. But I think they want to know sooner than later
what they have
in Jerome Ford.
Yeah,
I think they're going to give it to him early and see what he's got.
Right.
Because they got to know.
What would be your ideal workload disperse? Like, how would you disperse the carries? So let's say there's 25. How many are you given to Ford? How many are you given to Hunt? And how many are you given to Strong?
I'd give Ford 17 or 18.
Okay.
And, I mean, I guess I'd give Kareem 2 or 3. Like,
yeah.
And then you
No
give
more
the
than
air
that.
a couple.
Yeah.
I'd give Ford. I'm about the same. I was going to say Ford 20, Kareem 5.
Yeah.
And nothing.
Well, if they get 20, they automatically win, right? Or is
That's
that just
true.
apply to Nick Chubb?
It's only Nick Chubb.
It's
No,
only Nick Chubb?
25 carries is the number. They're 9-0 when they have 25.
I thought it was 20.
Five?
I thought it was 20. I thought it was.
No, that was
Nah,
Nick
that's-
Chubb.
Yeah.
That was
Nick
the
Chubb.
total run
Yeah.
carries during Stefanski's tenure. When they've run it 25
25?
times, they're 9-0.
I didn't know that. Well, there you go.
So I'm really optimistic on Hunt. I guess I'll save my thoughts on that because that's one of the questions for
Go
later.
ahead, Mike.
It's one of the ones that we are saving for tomorrow. by the way.
Oh,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So I think that Hunt's going to be. He's not going to be the leading carrier.
Yeah.
He's not going to get that many carries, but I think he's going to get 6 to 8 carries.
I hope you're right. I hope.
I said 5. I think he could get more than that.
But I still think, obviously, I think Ford's going to get 18
Yeah.
to 20.
Yeah.
18 seems to be the number for them
Yeah.
on their leading ball carrier.
I just don't think Kareem's in shape. I'd be surprised if he gives them anything on Sunday. I think he needs a week, a
but
full
think
week.
about it. If you give them
maybe-
carry and a half per quarter, you got 12 minutes on
Yeah.
the sidelines to catch your breath.
I mean, maybe, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is enough. Maybe that's enough.
And he hasn't
Yeah.
taken any hits.
Yeah.
He's healthy
Right.
in theory.
He's as fresh as you
Yeah.
can be at week 3.
I just know there's a massive difference.
Yeah, you're right.
Tyvus and G will tell you, man.
between practice
between
and
being in shape and being in game
You're
shape
right.
football.
But if you're only asking to do what he's done his whole life for 5 or 6 carries, it might be
Maybe.
If they want him to get 18 carries, I think that would be a bigger deal.
Right.
All right.
All right, question number 2. There is only one person sitting on a certain side of this fence. The question is, will the Titans gain 330 yards of total offense versus the Browns? And I would safe to say that we are all confident that this Browns defense is due for another big-time performance. Tyvus isn't here to defend himself, so let's just clown Tyvus for picking the wrong
Well,
answer.
330 is not very big of a number.
It's a
Like,
low
that's not
number.
outrageous.
I'm not going to clown him.
It's a very low number.
Yeah, that's
and
not-
I struggled
And we all
with
said
this.
no.
I did too.
But I
struggled
struggled with it. I thought 330. Let's go with 350. 330, you can almost fall into 330 today.
I'm with Bull, though, on Tannehill. I'm not a believer. I know he played
Yeah.
well last week.
Boy,
I mean, the Titans are the team.
I don't like him at all.
our Titans reporter, though, she was talking about him like he's Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Well-
I mean, rattling off all these crazy stats, which are all real.
Yeah.
She didn't make them up.
Right. The Titans are like the punchline team that we talk about all the time. If you've got a sound defense and a great running game and no quarterback, well, you're the Tennessee Titans.
Right, yeah.
And
Get
by
to the
the
playoffs
way,
sometimes, you don't win.
and they've had a ton of success being the Tennessee Titans as well. They win
Yeah.
a lot of games in the regular season, not in the playoffs
No.
necessarily.
Right.
They have a lot. They got a great coach. They're well coached. They're disciplined. They've got a sound running game and a great defense. So you can win a lot of games playing that way.
Yeah.
Not
which
a
is
bad formula.
Totally nothing like that question. So I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll
I'm
side
going
on
to say
Jim
it's going to
Schwartz.
be really close.
It wouldn't
But
surprise
I believe
me.
in this defense. This defense, look, what bothered me the most about Monday night, with the Chubb injury and the loss, it just almost erased how great that defense was.
Yeah.
When was the last time they played a game where the opponent didn't take a snap past the 31-yard line?
That's insane.
Like,
That's insane.
That should be a shutout.
Yeah.
Guys, I asked 330, just so you know. The Steelers had 255 total, and the
Right.
Bengals had 142.
Well, the
Wow.
Bengals, I'm still not ready to say the Bengals are.
No,
That's
I'm
an aberration.
just saying, 330
If
is
they
a
played them 10
significant step
times,
up
they would
against.
they would get
Yeah.
142 once.
No, I agree. I'm just saying 330 may seem low, but no
Right.
team's broken 260
Well,
against
with
them.
Derrick Henry,
This is
who's
easily
good
the
for
best
80.
running back. This is the best running back they've seen so far. He's
Yeah, no
far
question.
better than anything the Bengals or
Yeah,
Steelers
no
have.
question.
And we have a question in here about that. Next, though, we are unanimous on this one. Will the Browns wide receiver catch a touchdown in this game? They haven't yet this season, and
I actually
we all
changed my
think-
answer at
We
the
are
last minute.
we are going to be wrong. There's no chance we're all.
I
gonna be
changed
right
my.
on this.
I had this as a no, and felt like I was
changed.
being too negative, so I flipped at the last second.
The fact that we all said yes, it's going to be a wrong.
Yeah, that usually.
they don't
scares
have
me
one
too.
yet, do they? They don't have one yet,
Not
right?
yet.
I mean, it's got to happen eventually, I guess.
Well, here's again. Last week I said, because we asked this question, is Deshaun Watson going to have his breakout game? My answer was yes,
Because it better be.
because he has to. And my answer to that question is, if we go the first 3 games and he doesn't have a touchdown to a wide receiver,
Any other team in
Well,
the league that could say that?
I would say if he has 3 throws for 3 touchdowns and they're all to tight ends and running backs, that's fine.
I want him
But-
to connect to a wide receiver.
Yeah,
At some
you'd like
point, we're
to.
going to need that. I need to
Absolutely.
see that. It's going to happen.
All right, next one. We are not unanimous on this next one. And someone out here is by themselves. I won't tell you who it is. But what number is higher? The total number of touchdowns the Browns score or the total number of sacks the Browns allow? Bull, you are standing alone on one side of the fence.
Wow.
You say
I like it.
the Browns will score more touchdowns than they will allow sacks. The rest of us.
You're getting into his Kool-Aid, aren't you? Gee,
Well-
Bush, he's stealing your Kool-Aid.
What? How many? Like, I think the Browns will score 3 touchdowns in this game.
Wow. Okay.
It's not a crazy amount.
No, it's not.
No?
It's not.
Okay. The Browns, the Titans, they run the ball. First, I don't think this game's going to get one-sided. Now, if the Browns end up being up big, then I'm going to be wrong.
Yeah.
But my guess is the game's going to be relatively close.
It will be.
They
and if
usually
it's
play
close,
games.
what do the Titans do? They run
run.
the ball.
Yeah.
So I don't think Tannehill's not going to drop back that much.
You read the question wrong.
No,
Bull.
yeah. Sacks
No,
allowed.
yeah,
Sacks the Browns will allow.
How many sacks
Yeah.
will
Oh,
Deshaun take?
sorry, yeah.
Do you still agree with that?
I still agree with it, yeah. Because
You think Bull's going to disagree with himself?
Well,
Come on.
if he misunderstood the question, we would certainly allow him to change his
right,
answer.
no. At the time, I knew. Yes, I'm sorry, my bad.
You think it's going to go both ways?
Yeah. I mean, I think I think Watson will throw, but I think we tend, when 1 week a quarterback gets sacked a ton, we tend to overreact and think that's going to happen every week. I mean, did he get sacked by the Bengals at all?
Yeah,
Yeah.
at least
I think once.
twice. At least twice.
Oh, twice.
At least twice.
Yeah. He was under heat.
Yeah, I mean,
It's been a problem.
You can join us on the other side
Nah,
of the
I'm
fence
not.
if you
I'm
want.
sticking with it.
See, the thing is, we never bring the grade cards back to see how we did from
That's
the week
right.
before. So
We should,
It doesn't
Oh,
matter.
I
know
have
we
him
should.
saved. Don't
He's got a
worry.
running tally.
He was sacked 3 times against Cincinnati, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many against Pittsburgh? 4, 5,
Six.
6?
6.
6.
He's
Okay.
due
So
to
right
have
now
a lower sack
he's
game.
averaging 4.5 sacks per game.
Yeah.
Browns aren't scoring 5 touchdowns.
No, they're not.
Tennessee's defensive line's pretty good, too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're going to get after him.
Okay.
All right, next one. I had a little fun with this one. Well, DPJ let a punt
Yeah.
land over his head this week. Earl, take the mic, because you are the only vocal person here who said yes. It's you and G. Bush who said yes. The rest of us are at least going to believe that
I
he
just
learned
said no
his
because
lesson.
if he doesn't, he's cut.
There's no way. There's zero chance.
I mean, if he does that again, he
No.
is cut.
Earl,
No,
mic's yours.
I'm like what Jay said the other day, and I'm where Jason is with Jed Wills. I'm done with DPJ. Everybody was like on my neck earlier this year because they thought I was being too critical, and he ain't doing nothing but proving me right. You can't even catch the damn football.
Well,
put your team in decent field position.
Earl, are
I'm
you
done
done with him as a wide receiver or just a punt returner?
I'm done with him as a wide receiver. I'm done with him as a punt returner. I'm just done with DPJ. Period. I'm
That's
done with
I-
it.
I-
He's
don't know what
called
you
him
guys are
PJ
talking
because
about.
the D's for done.
As a punt returner, he sucks. I'm with you there. As a wide receiver, his career is an overachievement.
For where he was taken.
He's a
Drafted in the
6th
sixth
round.
round.
Yeah.
And he's a solid NFL receiver, a decent receiver.
He's a good 3. He's a good number 3.
How many good number 3s come out of the 6th round?
Well,
That's
considering
rare.
we have 2 third-round picks one that already is out of a job.
Yeah.
And another one that was hanging on by a thread this year in Bell.
Right. We've killed Andrew Berry for his draft picks. This
Yeah.
was
He
a good
nailed
pick.
that. But I think
he
you're
sucks
having-
at punt returns.
I think you're having 2 separate conversations. The value of the pick and what is he as an NFL player.
Yes, exactly. Because
It's-
at some
it's
point,
a different conversation.
It's
But
no
he-
longer relevant where you were drafted
Okay,
at
fine.
some point.
But he still has value as an NFL player, not as a punt returner.
No.
But as a wide receiver,
I've definitely
he's
seen
a
enough of him
serviceable
as a
player.
punt returner.
He's. I mean, if you trade him, what are you getting for him? A 5th, 6th?
Maybe if you're lucky.
I don't even
So-
know if you'd get much for him.
No,
The
but-
point is he's at least a third receiver.
He's on my
in the
Jed
NFL.
Wills hill. He's
Yeah,
on my
he
Jed
is.
Wills.
Don't die on that hill.
We're getting there next, Jason. Don't worry. We're getting
Jed
there.
Wills is better. I mean, DPJ's a better wide receiver than Jed Wills is the left end.
Right now he is.
I
for
can't
sure.
argue with that.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Mike.
All right, last Fence Rider question. We have 3 more that will be debuting tomorrow on the WKYC version of UCSS. 3 completely different questions. But this one. Will the Browns turn the ball over more or less than 2 times on Sunday? So it was either more than 2, less than 2. And everyone here was less. Tyvis, once again, lone on the more side of the
And he
fence.
looks unhappy about it.
I hate this question because I like 2.
I did too.
So-
I wanted to say neither.
2, yeah.
They're
I
going
like
to turn it
I
over
like
twice.
2.
That's the point. Pick a side.
Yeah,
Stick
I
with
know.
it.
Well, I had to, so I did.
I think he throws a pick and no fumbles.
For him.
For anyone. I think he probably throws I'm hoping
Guys,
1 interception.
Here's what I've decided after 2 games and this huge body of work to judge this year on. If we win the turnover battle in every game, we should win. Now, against San
Well, that's any
Francisco.
NFL game.
Yeah, it is. It's the most overlooked stat in all of sports, in my view. If you lose the turnover battle, you lose the game. This team
Although they didn't against the Bengals.
No, I know. There are exceptions,
There's
of
anomalies.
course. Of course there are exceptions. However, why did they lose Monday? They gave the football away. Their defense is good enough that if they don't turn the football over this year, they should win double-digit games.
What's funny is that what was the turnover total for the Steelers game? It was 4, Browns 4,
For
Steelers
us,
2?
Did they have 1 or 2?
How many Steelers turnovers were there? 2?
The pick
Steelers
at the
turned the ball
19-yard
over
line.
twice. The interception and the fumble that Denzel Ward caused.
Yes, you're right.
So it's 4-2.
Yeah.
So
it's
what's
4-2,
funny
correct.
is...
But look at points off turnovers.
No. But my point was, what's funny is, if the Browns didn't have the 4th fumble when Deshaun fumbled...
They win the game.
They win the game, and they would have lost the turnover in
of
both
the
games
first two
and
games.
won.
Yeah. To do that,
It was very
you need
rare.
an elite defense. And I think
And that's
they
what
have
they've
that.
had.
I think they have it.
I would think the turnovers are a point of emphasis this week.
I
coming
would
off
think
They better
every week
be.
from here on out they will
And
be.
so
Take
that's why
care of the football.
I'll take the under on the 2.
And by the way, one of the reasons I said yesterday you weren't here, one of the things I like most about Kareem Hunt is he has handled the ball over 1,200 times in the NFL. He's lost 1 fumble.
That's incredible.
That's
great
it's
stat.
absolutely mind-boggling.
Great stat.
Yeah.
So if he can,
Security is his thing.
security is big, and I think that probably weighed into their decision
Deshaun Watson
to bring him
fumbled
back.
twice last week, didn't he?
Yeah.
Did he fumble twice?
They fumbled the
No, he
strip sack
lost
fumble
2 fumbles. The strip sack
and the
fourth
first down.
Yeah,
on the
first
fourth down.
Right.
Yeah.
So he fumbled twice. Kareem Hunt's fumbled once in his career.
Yeah.
No, he's fumbled I think 5 times. He's lost one.
Lost one. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
We
that
got
it,
some
Mike?
super chats to read.
Oh.
Before we read some super chats, I want to let everybody know that if you are in the chat, if you're watching, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. It is totally free. It helps us out a lot in the long run. It's a click of a button, simple as that. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and we do appreciate and love all you guys out there for supporting UCSS. Got a couple fast super chats to read, excuse me. We missed one yesterday, and I do apologize. Anthony, who was it from? It was our... Anthony's going to find the one we missed from
Slappy
yesterday.
McGillicuddy.
No, it was our guy from our number 1 fan in India, and we apologize. We did miss a
Oh,
super
we
chat
love that
yesterday.
guy.
I know. With the late guests, it
Because
got
of
lost
him,
in
we
the-
can say our show is international.
Yeah.
We got some viewers in Canada. We got viewers all
England.
over. Actually, Anthony got it from me.
England, Germany, Russia. but
This
India.
is from Halim, by the way.
it.
This is from yesterday. So,
Okay.
Halim, we got you. I
Love you,
apologize. He
Halim.
said, our defensive line has been elite, and they have not garnered 1 holding call in 2 games.
Wow, that's interesting.
I got to double check. I'm not positive on that's true or
All
not,
right.
but I'll double check.
There were times on Monday night that Myles Garrett was being held. There were at least 2 plays where I was screaming at the TV, what does he have to do to draw an actual flag on a holding penalty?
It's funny. I feel like there could be a holding call
Well,
on
that's
almost
true.
every play.
No, that's absolutely
and then
true.
When they call it and when they don't.
But
it's just-
why are they all going against us and none of them are going against
I don't
Pittsburgh?
know. Yeah, I don't know. Well, they missed, obviously, the worst miss was the face
The face mask
on
on
Watson.
Deshaun.
Yeah.
That was a miss.
Yep,
that
that
they
was
didn't
definitely
call.
a miss.
Yeah.
Meantime, he picks up two last
personal
play of the
fouls.
game. We haven't talked to you about that. Do you call holding, defensive holding on that? Because it wasn't pass interference because it was uncatchable. But by the
Remember the play?
definition of defensive holding,
Trying to remember
it
the
was
play.
it was holding.
It was a terrible throw, wasn't
Threw to
it?
the
It was a
sideline
terrible
for
throw.
DPJ.
Yeah.
It
And
overthrew him, but he got grabbed. I mean,
it
I
was
guess-
clearly grabbed. There's no
Yeah.
questioning
For
that.
pass interference, it has to be a catchable ball.
Right, and that's why I said I wouldn't call pass interference, but I was saying in the moment that's
Holding.
defensive holding, and I know in that moment they're never going to call
No,
it.
that's a good point. I don't know if I can recall a play where they called holding on a ball that wasn't really catchable.
I don't
Right.
know.
I don't-
It's stupid
I don't
that
think
you
they're gonna
wouldn't
call it
call it in
because
that
of that.
situation. Like there was that Hail Mary with was it the Cardinals in Week 1?
No, it was the Chargers Dolphins.
Right, Chargers Dolphins. They called the pass interference
They
on
did
a Hail
call it,
Mary,
which was rare.
because the guy
was
just
obvious.
shoved him.
It was
I mean,
obvious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it has to be pretty.
was
I mean,
ridiculous.
I wasn't here till today, but some of those throws Deshaun had, I'm sure you guys talked about.
throwing
it.
to the chain gang.
Oh my God!
He was throwing. I don't know
He
where
was
he was
10 yards
throwing
out of
it.
bounds
I
on a
know.
sideline route. I'm like,
And it's one thing if you're just going to throw the ball away and live to see another down, but I don't think
No.
that's what was his
No.
intent.
No.
He was
He
trying
was
to complete
so far
passes, and the
off.
ball was 10 yards off the target.
His throws to the sidelines are awful.
Awful.
So at this point,
awful. He has
that's where he's at
no
his
touch,
worst.
no
Nothing.
field.
It's communication.
He's not seeing
That's
the
problem
field.
right now. Communication.
Well, he's not.
Well, there's no even if it is
apparently
that,
he's not telling the receiver to run 13
By the
yards
way-
out of bounds to go
by
catch
the
it.
way,
the
Joe-
NFL didn't get his memo that the field needs to be
Be
10
wider.
yards wider.
Joel Bitonio apparently said the same thing today. That there's a communication issue. Why?
I know
Why
that's
do they
a
have
big
communication
problem, Bull.
issue?
You're right. That's a big problem.
Why? we're into the season here. We're 3 weeks in. What's happening?
It is crazy, and I haven't listened to the press conference yet. I want to actually hear Batonio's actual comments before we dive into it. But we'll definitely talk about it tomorrow on the show, whether the root of that comes from. We got a couple more super chats before we play True or False after we break up Jason and his love affair on the Browns. But this one comes from Simple. Why aren't we seeing more of Tillman? I don't think DPJ is drinking the Kool-Aid. I feel like we need to see more of Tillman real quick around the horn. Do you expect Tillman to play on Sunday? Or at least be more involved?
No, I don't. I mean, obviously, David Bell and DPJ. I mean, DPJ, say what you want. He's proven he's a serviceable NFL receiver. And David Bell must be impressing them more in practice because he's getting the opportunities that Tillman's not.
Well, I told you guys Friday when we thought Cooper was out that I thought David Bell would be the next up. So I'm not really surprised he got a couple of targets. Tillman's a mid-round pick. With third-round picks, I can't find the camera. There it is. With third-round picks, middle-round pick guys, a lot of times it's middle to end of the season before they really make an impact. So I'm not really surprised. It's only week 3. I think Tillman will have an impact on this team, but probably not for another month or so.
What round was he taking in?
Third.
What has been Andrew Berry's poison in taking receivers in
third
round? Yeah.
It's not gone well.
All right, next super chat's from Dr. Latif Nuruddin. Maybe Watson has someone on his team who looks up his name and blocks these people for him, and he simply tells them, yeah, block anyone saying BS so when he gets on his phone, it's cleaner. Could be, maybe. And BD Dog 21 says, please stop saying Watson is the only reason we lost. Everyone has a job to do. If Jed does his job, there's no
Who
strip
said
sack.
he's the only reason?
I have said he can't be the reason that we lose the game. And Monday night, he was the biggest reason.
He was the biggest.
Yes.
Nobody's ever the
No,
only reason.
it's a team sport.
But clearly he's the. I don't know how you could argue he wasn't the biggest reason they lost.
He was.
Bill Buckner's the only reason the Red Sox lost that game.
Well, if any other hitter hit a home run
You know what?
for the Red Sox in that game, they win.
I would argue that the manager was to blame because in that I know this nobody cares. I'm going to say it for 30 seconds.
I knew I should have said
30
it.
seconds.
30
seconds. All season long,
He had a
the
bad
Red
back.
Sox would put Dave Stapleton in late in the
As a
game to play
defensive
first base,
replacement, yeah.
and they didn't do it because he wanted Buckner to be on the
had a
field for the
bad
game
back.
to end.
Yeah. All right, go ahead. I'm
Poor
sorry.
Buckner. I love Bill
I'm
Buckner.
sorry.
One of my favorite players.
I never
as a
should have
kid.
said it. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. It's fine.
minute.
Before we
R.I.P.
play True or
Bill
False.
Buckner, right? Hasn't he passed?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. I suck at the dead or alive. For
Yeah.
some reason, I thought Bill Buckner passed.
He might have.
I'll look it up while Jason makes a public declaration here. Jason, it is well documented your love affair with Jed Wills. You went as far as to say he was average before the season.
Yes, he was.
Are
Might have
you
been a
saying
5
you're
or
going
6.
back on Tinder?
He was not average.
No,
You're looking?
Listen, here's
Jason, are you officially, for the record, you can confirm you are not dating Taylor Swift and you are breaking up with Jed Wills. Are those both accurate?
Those are both accurate. I'm not dating Taylor Swift, and I'm sorry, Jed. It's just not working out. Man. It's not me. It's you.
Do you want your Letterman coat
Who's
back?
getting the house?
It's not me. It's you, Jed. I'm sorry. You know, listen. All I said was I thought he got a bad rap because I thought he was average, and in the past he has been average. This year he has not been average. This year he's been awful. He's been terrible, and it was really disappointing last week because you have DeJuan Jones on the right side, and they were shifting so much help over to DeJuan's side to help on TJ Watt. You really needed Jed to bail you out and to hold his own. He had the lesser assignment in Alex Highsmith, and he still couldn't get it done. Now, the last play, the strip sack, was a bad angle. I think it's asking a lot of him. Just the way, I don't know if he took the wrong angle, I don't know what, but he had no chance of stopping Highsmith.
He got blown off the ball.
Yeah, I know.
He didn't even know it was like he didn't know the ball had been snapped.
And then he stopped because he always
Everybody
stops.
else ran. Everybody else
And
made
he
an effort.
stopped.
Yeah.
Because he always stops. And
Yeah.
it's what's so infuriating. I was
And
really...
if Bill Callahan can't wash that out of him, that's burned into his DNA, baked into the cake.
I was really frustrated with him last week just because you knew what you had going on the other side. And let me tell you something. I paid close attention to DeJuan and Wyatt Teller. Wyatt had to tell DeJuan, he was in his ear literally all night, like where to go, what to do.
I'm not going to beat him up for that. It's his second NFL start.
Wyatt Teller was playing right guard and right tackle.
I know.
And then Wyatt got beat. Like Wyatt gave up an inside pressure to Ogunjobi, and it's fair to wonder if he was so concerned with what was going on next to him that it took away from what he was supposed to be doing. By
the way, that was the concern on DeJuan Jones.
Yes, I've been saying it all. Like it's the mental and the maturity with him, and he's in a position they never thought that they were going to need him this early, right? I think we can all agree on that. At week 1,
sure.
Jack. I think everyone thought Conklin was going to get hurt I don't know that we would have said it's going to be season ending in week 1. So he's obviously been thrown in the fire. I think DeJuan could be fine in time. But
we can't kill him yet.
But but you know what? He's on the field. He's got to get it done.
And he's got to understand his assignment. He shouldn't be asking.
But Jed's been worse.
Jed has been worse because of the fact that he's a veteran and he should know better, and you should be able to expect more out of him than a 4th-round rookie. Yeah. And the fact that you can't, and the fact that they had to shift so much help over here and he let them down.
How concerned are they internally about the
I haven't asked specifically about the tackles. Yeah. But I said last week, coming out of that game, I called Mike on the way home after the Bengals game and said they got a real problem at tackle. Like, they got a real problem.
No, you said that on this show after
Did I?
week
I don't
1.
remember if we talked about
it.
You said it on
the show. You said, I'm here to tell you that this is not going away.
Yeah, and it's not. It's still not. They're going to have a massive problem all year. And now we talked about, like, the fact that the tackles were poor against the run, but at least you have Nick Chubb. Well, now you don't have Nick Chubb. So now you got tackles who can't run block and a running back that is not Nick Chubb.
And the one thing you can't control throughout the course of the season is the breaks, your luck.
Yeah.
And when you put together the winning formula for a quarter to win a Super Bowl in the NFL, you need a great head coach. You need a great Super Bowl. On that list, you got to be lucky. They've lost 2 starters in 2 games for the season.
Yeah.
They can't.
After having a whole camp and preseason where they didn't lose anybody.
I know.
They came in completely healthy.
And they lost 2 starters on the same side of the ball within the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Let's just hope that that's it on the luck front and on the injury front, that we've had our bad luck. It's out of the way. Because I don't know that this team can survive. If you lose another starter on the offense, I don't even want to think about it.
I don't know how much of an upgrade he is at this point, and I don't know if he's even ready to play, so it might not be worth talking about, but the Bengals cut Lyle Collins, who was a really good tackle at one point with Dallas.
Injured?
He played last year. He got hurt right at the end of the season.
At the end.
He struggled early last season, and he was starting to play much better second half of the year, and then he got hurt. Now, I don't know that he's completely ready because he wasn't on the team. They cut him after week 1, and he wasn't on the active roster. But, I mean, at some point, they might need to look elsewhere.
I don't think they're at that. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean,
like, how bad is James Hudson that DeJuan beat him out already?
I was just thinking about that.
There was a time where we thought Hudson was looking good, and clearly the Browns don't think very highly of him.
No.
If DeJuan can come in as a 4th-round pick and already, and DeJuan's had some really good moments. Like, he's had good moments.
Yeah,
he's not ready for the task.
I was watching you on Channel 3 on Monday.
Yeah,
when you said, I know Brian Baldiger's breaking down all this tape and he's saying it's fine, but he didn't know what he was doing on Monday.
I mean, it was amazing how many times Wyatt was like literally in his ear telling him where to go and what to do.
I hear you, but we understand that he's a project, right? And and as you said, he's in there. He's expected to do certain things. There's parts of his game on the mental side maybe that he's not as far advanced, but he didn't do a terrible job in comparison to what happened at left tackle.
He had all the help on his side. Jed had no help.
But he had T.J. Watt, who's much better than Alex Highsmith.
And he had tight ends all around him, and he had Wyatt. He had plenty of help on him. And I'm not defending Jed. Jed was awful.
But Alex Highsmith made much more of an impact in this game than T.J. Watt did.
Because they had 3 guys on T.J. They had 3 guys on T.J. all night, and they trusted their left tackle, and he let them down.
I know it was just one play, but the rookie quarterback for Carolina,
who may not play this week.
Bless his soul. You know,
he's not only he's playing this week.
He just practiced again.
Did you see the play where he was in the shotgun and he was lined up behind the guard?
They pushed him over. Yeah.
Get over.
Yeah.
I mean, so this game is. Everybody always says, and I'm sure you've heard them say this too. I always love talking to rookies after about half a season and saying, okay, so what's the biggest difference? Without hesitation, the speed of the game.
Yeah.
The speed of the game.
Yeah, for sure.
And when things speed up, this gets goofy.
Yep.
And we're seeing it for sure with DeJuan Jones. We saw it with the Carolina's quarterback, who's a rookie, and his head must be spinning.
I just think after a full offseason program, after a full training camp into week 3 now, I know he wasn't expected to be the starter. Wyatt Teller shouldn't have to tell him where to go.
That's true.
You should be. That's part of being a professional is being prepared to knowing your assignments.
Yeah, there's no excuse for that. You're right.
So the fact that and again, he's had great moments.
Yeah,
he's had very good moments.
I think he's going to be very good.
I think he's going to be better than I thought he was going to be. I think he's going to make it. And ultimately, a year from now, 2 years from now, he could be really good. But they need him right now, and he doesn't know where he's going.
And if he had to ask Wyatt Teller one couple of times, I get it.
It was
no, I'm saying I get it then. But you're right. If he's asking him almost every play,
I mean, I won't say it was almost every play,
But a lot of plays.
I had the binoculars on him quite a bit.
Yeah.
And it was
too
fairly
often.
frequently.
By the way, you know who's going to start for Carolina this week if he can't play Bryce Young?
The Red Rifle.
Andy
Oh,
Dalton.
Andy Dalton. My goodness.
Real quick before we move to true and
Colt
false.
McCoy.
Chris Hubbard, correct me if I'm wrong, was a former Browns offensive lineman,
Yeah.
right?
That is correct. He was not very
recently,
good either.
Recently.
He is the
Nice guy,
starting
though.
right tackle for the Tennessee Titans.
Oh, my goodness.
In 2 games, he's allowed 1 total pressure this year.
He was a swing guy. He could play guard. He could play tackle.
He wasn't good here.
I thought he was a decent back. He was a serviceable backup. I wouldn't want him as a starter.
Whenever he got started, he did not play well. So, to me, they should be able to dominate him.
I was just saying, it just was as I was looking up pressure stats this morning.
Yeah, I hear
that
you.
Was, that
I
was
mean, 2
something
games
wanted
is
to-
not enough of a sample size on anybody.
No. But
Well,
just,
I mean, let's face it. After hearing Teresa, they have 4 new linemen.
yeah.
With our defensive front, we should be in their backfield from the time they get off the bus.
Yeah. Now, Derrick Henry is
I know.
is
Don't get too
difficult to
aggressive
tackle.
with your pass rush because he'll run right past you
or through you.
or over you.
Yeah.
Okay, Mike, where are we going?
We got one more fast read for the day. I got one more super chat to read, and then we're going to play a little true or false. If you guys missed it last night, myself, Earl, Anthony had another episode of Behind the Glass. We broke down everything Kareem Hunt said, our expectations for Hunt, and how we think he fits in. Earl got a little emotional welcoming the Cleveland kid back to his home city. If you missed it, it is on our YouTube page. Go check it out. It is Behind the Glass, myself, Anthony, and Earl. One more super chat real quick.
By the way,
Yes.
can I say that you guys are doing a great job on Behind the Glass, but I've got a suggestion.
Please.
That you should add to Behind the Glass, and I'm being serious. You guys should, as part, not just talk about sports, because in the normal show, which you guys are a part of, we're talking about all this stuff anyway.
I think I know what you're going to say, and I think we did it last night. But
What's
finish.
that? Because I didn't get a chance to hear last night.
I think you're going to say we should talk about behind-the-scenes stories about the show.
Yes.
And we did. A question last night, and you should go listen. Evan419 asked,
Yeah.
McNuggets, what do you do, and what do you say to Earl and Anthony when Jay and Bull start going at each other like rabid dogs?
Yeah.
They say, here we go again.
We did about a 10-minute discussion. Yeah, we want a 10-minute discussion about how we handle those situations, why we love it, why I want to kill you guys, but also in some of my favorite moments of the show.
Yeah.
So if you, we always encourage, but we always at
you-
the end of the show ask if you have questions about behind the scenes of UCSS.
I
We're
think
more than
that's
happy to-
important that you do that.
I
by
think
the
you
way.
guys should do that and like just I think the last week's shows analyze some moments on the show. I think that would be fascinating.
Not a bad
for
idea.
people to hear.
We always end with fan
Coach
questions.
Ty to do
Chat
like a
questions,
breakdown?
so-
Yeah, you're right.
Coach Earl, Coach Ann. Awesome. That's not a bad deal. We got 2 super chats real quick, though. This from Aaron Snyder. I'm just going to read them. We'll move right on. It's all mental with Watson. He went from Lord and Savior to not in that situation. He's in trouble until he comes to terms with himself. And then he sent another one. Watson has to shut out the haters and come to terms. His mentality seems to be holding him back. It's tough going from being liked to where he is now. So let's play a little game of true and false. Mike, you can hit the music. This is true and false Titans Browns edition. We did it with the Steelers. Not as storied of a rivalry, excuse me, but we're still going to get to know
Wait
the
a minute.
Browns.
Well,
Wait a minute. Wait a
They're
minute.
counting the Oilers in
They're
that.
counting the Oilers. 'cause
Oilers,
it's
Titans,
the Oilers
Oilers, Houston franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The all-time record between these two is 36-32. The Browns.
The
lead.
Oilers
is that
became
true?
the Titans. And
It's
they
Browns-
that was a rivalry, Oilers-Browns.
Now,
It-
did they?
it was.
But they, like the Browns and the move to the Ravens, they didn't take.
They took the history.
They didn't
They
take the
did
colors.
take the history. I know they
Yes.
didn't take the colors.
But they took the history.
Yeah.
So that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
To me.
I forget I just read about this, or someone just told me why they didn't take the colors. I don't remember.
I
but
love their colors.
They're
the old
sweet.
Houston Oilers.
Yeah.
Those
they
were
had
the best
great
uniforms.
Yeah.
Love
And
them.
the helmets.
Aren't
those
the
were
Titans alternative uniforms this
The
year?
old school Oilers,
the old
and they
school
are
Oiler
beautiful,
colors, and they're
glorious,
one of the best looking uniforms
majestic.
in the league.
I think
I'll read the
Warren
question one more
Moon
time.
Yes.
And Earl
Campbell.
Yeah.
True or false? The Browns lead the all-time series between these two franchises, 36-32.
I'm sure it's on the game notes that are in my bag, but I didn't bother to look at them yet.
Yeah, I don't know that the Browns lead the season series against any of the teams in the NFL.
False, false, false. 3 false is the answer. It's true.
God, jeez.
The Browns do lead
I hate this game.
the all-time series.
Are you going to pick one side and stay with it like you did
No.
last time
Yeah.
and won?
Don't
Yeah.
do it. Don't do it. Come on. Play the game
False.
right.
All
I
right,
protest.
question number 2. True or false? Nick Chubb has more career rushing yards versus the Titans than Derrick Henry does against the Browns. False for Jason. False for Bull. False for Jay. 3 falses, 6 falses to start, and this time, y'all nailed it. You want to take a guess real quick on their yardage totals? It's quite close.
Would they play 3 games head-to-head?
Henry's played 4, Chubb's played 3.
Oh, see, I thought it was the same.
Henry has 164 in 4 games. Chubb has 155 in 3.
And that's something.
That's a bit. You should have
both-
said per game.
They're both terrible.
Nope. He gave it however he wanted.
That's unfair.
You got it right.
I know.
You got it right, Bull. Yeah. What are you complaining about?
Bull even yells when he's right.
I wasn't yelling. I'm just saying I think it's an unfair question.
Complains.
All right, next question. True or false? There are 2 active players who at one point in their career have played for both the Browns and the Titans who have made an all-pro team.
Are either of them currently on the Browns and the Titans? Or the
Maybe.
Titans?
Maybe.
You're not going to give us that, okay?
2 active players.
Active players.
So they're
One-
currently active. They've played for both teams and have an all-pro team on their resume.
At least one.
Now, you understand if there's 3, that could still be, the answer could still
You
be
know what?
true.
I'll give you a hint. I'm not messing with you with the numbers. I may be messing with some other parts, but I'm not messing with the numbers.
Well,
Maybe I am. True for Jay. True for Bull. True for Jason.
So is Bull going to ride with
yeah,
us?
no,
or
he's going to wait for us to
opportunistic?
reveal
And
then
false.
go false.
Yeah, that's what he just did.
No.
Okay,
I'm
the
thinking
answer.
about it.
It is true. Now I'll give you a bonus point if you can name the 2 players. You got to name them both.
Both. Is Conklin one of them? Did he make an all-pro team?
Jack Conklin is one of
Good
the 2.
job,
That's what I
Eddie.
thought.
You.
Good job.
That's what I thought.
Really good job.
That's why I went true, because I was
Can you
pretty sure
name
he was
the
one.
other?
Is the special teams guy?
It is not a special teams guy.
Is the guy, what team is the guy on currently?
Do you guys want the answer?
Well, I mean, if you give us that,
Well,
we
we're
don't
not
get
getting
the
points
point.
for this
We're not getting
anyway.
the point, so we'll try to just guess it.
Baltimore. He's on Baltimore.
Oh, he's on the Ravens now.
Raven.
I got nothing.
He wears number 24.
I don't know crap when it comes
It's
to
a
numbers.
He
defensive
plays
back.
defensive end.
Yeah. Oh, defensive end.
Defensive end?
Oh, Jadeveon Clowney.
Oh,
Davian Clowney.
Oh, that
Yeah,
was
we
an
should have
easy
got
one.
that one. We
That was
really
an
should have
easy-
got that one.
Conklin was the harder one.
Wow.
I get a half point for Conklin. I'm writing it down.
You get nothing.
Half.
Clowney, everyone forgets. He's been all over the place.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
played 1 season
1
in
year.
Tennessee.
I know.
And
I'd
I'm the one who
forgotten
said
about
for
that.
years Vrabel gave up on him twice. I should have known that.
But he didn't get his All-Pro with the Browns or with Tennessee.
That is correct.
Whereas
All right,
Conklin
next
did.
up.
He's wearing 24?
He had a
That's
sack
weird.
last week
Yeah.
at 24. It looks hideous. Defensive end should not be number 24.
I mean, I think that's great when they go single digits. I like
Next question. The Browns won the first 9 meetings between these 2 franchises spanning from 1970 to 1974. Is that true or is that false?
True.
I think weren't the Oilers an expansion team, so that makes
True.
sense.
Were.
3 trues
They came
and
in
3
1970.
correct answers.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
spot on. The Browns did beat the Oilers the first 9
You know
times
who I miss is Jerry
they
Glanville.
played.
He was great. Leave
I
tickets
love
for
Jerry
Elvis.
Glanville.
Is he dead?
No,
Yes.
he actually.
No?
I was watching a
I thought he
game
was.
in week 1, and they said Jerry Glanville popped
Oh,
in.
that's right.
And he didn't have a credential, but somehow
just
he got
walked
in
into the
here.
press box,
Walked
yeah.
right in.
I thought he was dead.
Who's going to stop Jerry Glanville?
Yeah, right.
We should play Dead or Alive.
I used to love that.
Another game I'd lose
He
at.
used to leave
We
2
have played
tickets
that
for
once.
Elvis Presley at every
Yep.
single
Yep.
will call window for all the games.
Imagine if he
ever
showed
had
up.
coached.
Were you weren't with us at the day we played it? We did play it once.
Here?
Yeah, we
Because
played
we
it
used to
once.
play it
Dead
on the
or
radio.
Alive.
Dead or
all the
alive.
time. But we
Yeah.
played it here once. We should play it.
Yeah,
again.
wasn't great. We
and
should
who did
bring
I
it
just
back.
ask? Are they dead or alive? I said Bill Buckner.
Bill Buckner,
I
right.
think he's dead.
We'll look that up.
Okay.
That'll be the overtime
Well,
question.
apparently I just killed Jerry Glanville. Sorry about that, Jerry.
Jerry's
All right,
still
next
alive.
question. Baker Mayfield has 6 career touchdown passes against the Titans, the most he's thrown against any non-AFC North opponent. True or false?
Well, I think I have.
You're
this.
right, by the way. Bill Buckner died in 2019.
I thought I remember Bill
sad.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
You don't get a half point for that, Jay.
Give me the question
Should.
one more time, Mike.
Baker Mayfield has thrown 6 career touchdown passes versus the Titans, the most he's thrown against any non-AFC North opponent.
Why are we showing a picture of Deshaun Watson?
True.
Yeah, that was I was quizzed by
False.
that too.
False. Anthony, you wanted to tell him why you used that picture?
I was making these during the game, so I was just grabbing the most recent pictures they uploaded.
That's the answer. Very
It's not
fair.
Baker Mayfield.
All right, 2 trues, 2 falses, and a true. The answer. It is false.
Yes.
He has 5 against the Titans, which is tied with the Arizona Cardinals and the Denver Broncos as a team.
I mean, they beat him 45-40 a couple of years ago, didn't they?
Yeah. Do you know what team he has thrown his most touchdowns against? It's just for fun.
Bengals.
Has to
Non-AFC
be the
North?
Bengals.
No,
Bengals.
AFC North included.
Has to be
Well,
the
it's got to be
Bengals.
the Bengals.
Do you know what number? The Bengals is correct.
I'd say
10?
8.
Way higher.
Is it?
14.
21.
They're oh my God.
His
In how
second
many
highest
games?
his second highest is 13.
He was only here 3 years.
That's funny. That's funny.
6 games.
No wonder Bull hates him so much.
All right, Anthony, can we get a score update real quick?
Yeah, right now Jason's in the lead with 4.5 points, and Jay and Bull are both tied with 3.
4.5, baby.
He's got 4.
4.5
points.
4.5.
We don't do bonus points on this show. We've never done it.
The only playoff meeting between these two teams came in the 1988 AFC wildcard game.
Again, the picture doesn't fit. What's happening here?
I don't know.
Anthony, I'm making a request right now
Let's go.
officially. Let's use more relevant pictures.
The only playoff meeting between these two teams. Boy, I remember that game.
I do
like
too.
It was yesterday.
I do too, and I don't remember another one. So
I don't
I'm
either.
gonna say true.
I'm going true. I do not remember them meeting
3
another playoff
trues.
game.
3 correct answers. That is true.
Yeah.
That
Clay
is the
Matthews.
only meeting between the two.
Do you remember that game?
I saw clips of it on YouTube
I remember
recently.
it like it was yesterday.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Clay Matthews, Hall of Famer. I'm sorry.
All right, next up. The Browns and Titans have made trades involving draft picks before, but they've never made a trade involving a player. And for the record, Jack Conklin was a draft pick. That trade was picks that turned into Jack Conklin.
Conklin's a free agent.
What?
No, but they traded the draft pick to Tennessee that turned into Conklin.
Oh, okay.
Oh. I'm gonna say
Jason says true.
true because they wouldn't trade with a divisional opponent. You must be remembering a specific trade.
I think I do.
I'm going off the fact that they wouldn't trade with a divisional opponent. I don't remember any trades since then.
So 2 falses.
Didn't Dr. Mays, remember Dr. Mays, the quarterback? He was a dentist. Didn't he play for both the Browns and the Oilers?
So we'll get to Dr. Mays in a sec. The answer is false. There has been a trade involving a player. However, of all the research I did, Dr. Mays did not come up as an answer.
Okay. I mean, he might have been released by the Browns and maybe they picked him up later.
Do you have any idea? This will be a blast in the past. If you guys get this, I will give you a bonus point. The only trade, according to Pro Football Reference, between these two teams that involved an actual physical player was recent. Do you know who player it was?
Oh, it was recent.
Very
so it was
recent.
A Titan then.
Yeah, recent.
Which team acquired the player?
The Titans acquired the player.
I got nothing.
Oh, the Browns traded Cade York to the Titans.
Kicker. No. They didn't trade Cade York.
He was
They
playing
released
Oh, he was
waivers.
cut. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Terrence West, the running back.
I remember Terrence West.
Never would have got that.
All right, and we have one more
think
question.
we're
We got
tied,
DJ
right?
has in
Three-way
the
tie,
queue.
right?
Anthony, score.
No, I got a half point.
So if we're not counting half the point,
We're counting half the point.
And we're not.
We're counting half
I
the
will let the
point.
Nuggets decide that.
You're a bigger man than
we
claiming
have a
that half point.
tiebreaker. Is everyone tied? Okay, so we have a tiebreaker question involved with this next question.
Okay, because right now we're all tied.
You're all tied. True or false? Bernie Kosar has twice as many career touchdown passes versus the Titans/Oilers than any other team he faced in his career. True or false?
Oh man.
He may have
Everybody
more.
is tied. This
He may
is
have
for all
more.
the marbles.
I don't think he has
Oh, if
twice
it's true,
the
I
number.
win.
So if it is true, Bull wins. If it's false, he's not. Mike, don't take it. In second place for Bernie Kosar's career touchdowns against
Pittsburgh.
the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, I would have thought Pittsburgh.
First, and twice as many as he did against the Bengals,
Wow, that's
is
stunning.
the Tennessee Titans/Houston Oilers. Bull, you are
Yeah,
victorious.
baby.
And you
Yeah,
are
historically,
tied
he won on a historical question.
Yes.
And he wasn't even following the team then.
Yes, I was. I always paid attention to the Browns. I've said this for years. Always.
Stupid game.
Yeah,
I always paid attention to the Browns
Wait,
even before I knew anything about
do I
Cleveland.
still win, or is he still
What was
beat
the
me?
number, by the way?
22 against the Titans, Oilers,
Plus,
11 against
That
the Bengals.
is stunning to me.
Plus,
that he
I
wouldn't have even had-
remember Bernie the night we went out for dinner. G and I went out for dinner last year with Bernie and Leroy Horde, a few other guys, and I remember Bernie was talking to us about how he killed the Oilers.
I would have
inside information.
I wouldn't have been surprised that he threw more against the Oilers than anyone else because the Oilers had some bad defenses.
They had bad defenses. They ran run and shoot, a lot of high-scoring games.
God, you know, he.
But I knew, and I knew because the other day Mike said he looked up Bernie's stats against the Steelers and they weren't that great, so I knew it wasn't the Steelers. And the Bengals were good for some of that time.
Twice the number, though.
Yeah.
That's what surprises me.
The Oilers, I remember the Oilers being a team that played shootouts, that they didn't have a good defense.
They always did. They always did.
So,
well, guys, it's one of our favorite times of the week. It is time to bring in DJ Hazmat.
Yeah.
Here with his latest single. Week 1 was very energetic about a win. This one, different tone. But what's up, Haz?
Oh, boy. Here it is.
My man. Wow, he's wearing a Deshaun Watson jersey. I got to tell you, I did not have that on my bingo card for today.
Word on the street is he crushes Deshaun Watson in this song.
Hey, you know, this is that fatherly love. You have to kind of come down on your son.
Tough love.
Tough love, yes. I'm giving him some tough love on this song.
He needs it.
Fair enough.
And he's earned it, for crying out loud.
Yeah, he definitely earned it. And I appear to have, you know, based on some of the comments I've been getting coming in, I've ruffled some feathers, you know.
He's going to block you. You might be hearing from something that some people are saying is his burner account. Be ready.
I'm ready for whatever. I mean, you know, don't get mad at me about the song. Be mad about the results of the game. I make the songs based on what happens, and
You're right.
I'm not pulling any punches. I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to spit facts in these bars. What I see in the game is what I see, and I'm going to talk about it. So you know, don't get mad at me.
Keep it real.
Keep
it real. You can't blame anybody.
That's why we love you, DJ, because you don't mess around.
And with that, let's listen to A Milli, Week 2 edition by DJ Hazmat.
A milli, 230 milli, a milli,
Wow.
a milli, 230 milli, a milli, 230 milli.
Cleveland, I'm going there.
Hey.
230 millionaire guaranteed. Watching the money, then went to his cupboard and it was bare. I don't care, I'ma call it like it is. Start to finish, spotted the squeal of 7 points. Pick 6, first play from scrimmage. That's how we do on a Monday night when we supposed to change the image. Looking like the same old Browns in all white uniforms, supposed to be vintage. Watson got me feeling ill. Listen, I'ma give props to the defense. We can all see that's not the weakness. Prayers up for Nick Chubb, got lost for the season the way his knee bent. I wanna believe that dark cloud is gone, Cleveland, trust me. And I don't wanna hear no more about Deshaun being rusty. With 2 of his turnovers went for scores. Yeah, Deshaun should have been embarrassed, especially when Kenny Pickett is trash and the defense shut down Najee Harris. Watson got me feeling ill. Yo, got a pick from Burger King, Kenny hands to Grant Delpit, and we still couldn't put up points. I'm frustrated, I can't help it. If you're averaging over 6 yards a carry, it's pretty sad when Stefanski wanna keep passing, calling his plays like it's Madden, and your quarterback keeps drawing yellow flags for face masking. And why the option play on 4th and 1, Kevin? I'm asking. Your play calling, Kevin, ill. Listen, this ain't rocket science. Stefanski is not hard. Nick be squatting 600 pounds and you didn't think he could get a yard? It sucks we lost Nick Chubb for the year, but shout out to Jerome. He reversed that field for 70 yards and almost took it home. Ran 16 for 106 and he had a nice catch in the end zone. Amari Cooper clutch, said you cannot stop me with no groin. Hey, Jimmy Schwartz be with you, I'm liking what the defense is doing. Sacks for Hurst the second, Shelby and Taki Sion. We dominated the stats but lost because of mistakes from Deshaun. And that is not what I expect for 230 million. Not you out here with the game on the line, playing like hot garbage, getting into it with players and pushing the refs. What do you need, a massage? Don't take 6 sacks, your back wise, they gotta put that whole team on. And I'm thinking because of these bad breaks, them white helmets need to be gone. And I'm gone.
Oh, I'm looking for a red card.
I didn't see that one coming, man. I did not see that one coming.
I'm looking for a red card, but I can't find one.
That was great and appropriate. Nothing unfair in that whole thing.
No.
Nothing unfair.
Hey, listen, I know a lot of people, you know, like,
especially the people that, you know how you had this big split. You got people that, and I'm not against Deshaun Watson. If I'm against Deshaun Watson, I'm against the Browns. So that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
I want him to play well, and this is who our quarterback is. But I have to call it like I see it, and especially I told you we moved hell and high water to get him here, not to play like that.
That's
not
fair.
to be the reason we lose games. You understand what I'm saying? So people were like, well, the offensive line has to do a better job. Sure. But he has to do a better job of protecting the ball. You can't be out there fumbling. You can't get penalties that kill drives. You just can't. I'm sorry. This is not what you expect out of what we consider to be, or what we hope to be, an elite quarterback, because we're paying elite quarterback money. So when it's time to put the team on your back, we expect that to happen. Now, yes, Kevin Stefanski with bad situational play calling. I mentioned that in the song. I think people focus on that last line a little much, but hey, in the rap community, when you go to war against another MC, you don't pull any punches. So that's just how it is from the culture.
I thought it was awesome.
People don't take it too personally. It's a song, but I'm gonna give you the real. If Deshaun balls out against Tennessee, it will reflect in the song. And that's why I intentionally wore this jersey, to let you know I'm with him. I want him to play well, but I'm going to talk about it if he doesn't.
Anybody criticizing you for that is ridiculous.
No, and I've thought
it was a great song.
I thought this for a while, but I really feel like you're my football spirit twin. Like I couldn't agree with you more. I have been critical of the move to bring Deshaun Watson here. I was very vocal against it. I did not love it. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean I'm against him. Of course I'm with him. He's my quarterback. I have to root for him. But look, when you wear that $230 million bullseye on your chest, you better be able to take incoming like that.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, come on, people, let's be honest. Anybody who's defending or trying to give excuses for his play, keep the same energy you had for all the quarterbacks.
That's right.
Keep the same energy you had for every quarterback that ever walked through this door. And you didn't have patience for any of them. So why you can't all of a sudden have patience now? He had last season that was a wash, and this year it's supposed to be better. You've had a full training camp, preseason. You're supposed to be further along the curve now. So let's see it.
I would say he deserves even more scrutiny. We gave up 3 first-round draft picks, and we're giving him $230 million. We've never done that before.
And there were people apologizing for every other quarterback, too. And I criticized those people also.
No
I
apologies.
criticize this. There's no defense for Deshaun Watson. You can't give up completely after 8 games, in my opinion. But to defend him and how he's played is inexcusable.
There is no defense.
He's played like crap.
You're right,
There's
Jed.
no defense.
Hey, did I get – I think I'm picking it up right. No white helmets. You said you're done with
You're
that.
out.
You've seen
I'm
it
just
up.
saying, we lost Nick Chubb in the white helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Deshaun
true.
Watson played horribly in the white helmet for all the nation to see. What really was frustrating that this had to play out on national television.
Yeah.
With so many people watching.
Yeah.
And it's like, I like the look. I was like, oh, we finally gonna wear a different helmet, and then look at what happens.
Bad luck.
First
No.
play.
See, Mike, you
play.
said
Play ever with the white helmet.
Mike said everybody be faster in white. Instead, they're injured in white.
All right.
goodness,
Has
man.
great stuff, man. Apologize to no one for that. When he plays well, you're going to be the first one
I thought it was an awesome
singing
song.
his praises.
It was a
Literally.
great song.
I thought it was great.
I'm gonna be cheering. I'm gonna be giving him his praises when he plays well.
When he
the
deserves
song.
it.
The song.
That's right.
The songs will always reflect what happened in the game.
That's
You
right.
always
I'ma
keep it real.
I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna tell the truth.
You
That's
always
right.
do. All right, Haz,
see you
we
next
will see
week.
you next week. Hopefully we'll be able to laugh and joke and say we're 2-1.
I think we will.
I think you're right.
I think we will.
Has great stuff, as always. What a talent. What a talent.
awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, what he's doing there is so difficult, and he's turning them in hours.
I know, it's great. And it's always entertaining.
It's always
good
good.
Or when the game was good or bad.
All right, we're headed to overtime.
Peace.